Welcome to the skating session. My name is Tony Wheeler,
And I'm Thomas Vu.
and we're here to recap the 2026 Four Continents Championships. It is now less than 2 weeks away from the Olympics. I know we say this with every video since New Year, but I worked the beginning of New Year, those first few days, and then I went straight to nationals, got no sleep there, and now I feel like it's skating on the days that I don't work, and then I'm back to work, maybe sometimes on a completely different schedule, and I still have not caught up on sleep.
Yeah, same. But maybe that's just what life is now. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just being an adult. Who knows?
It's being a hardcore skating fan and getting these videos out next day or same day in some cases. So yeah, this is Four Continents. This is a competition that is usually watered down in the Olympic season, sometimes even not in the Olympic season. The US for a long time never sent their strongest teams. Some other countries, just because virtue of it's a lot of travel and it's so close to
Yeah.
bigger competitions, they don't go. Uh, so this year, once again, we don't see the top teams. We only see a few skaters going to the Olympics. Zingis and Kolesnik, we'll talk about them. They have a crazy schedule where they skated here, they go back home for 2 days, and then they turn around and go to Milan. They've had the most outrageous schedule, but benefit to them is that they won this competition. Uh, Otherwise, though, you see a lot of skaters that are lower level, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but you see skaters you won't typically see at the World
Right.
Championships because they don't have the technical minimums to compete there. As opposed to Europeans, where many of them do have technical minimums, we see some countries sending skaters here that this is their biggest event of the year, and year after year, I'm really impressed by some of them. We'll go over those skaters as we get into the specific disciplines. But I just want to throw out that in the beginning of Four Continents, which started in 1999, there were skaters that were sent that were scoring in the ones and the twos, like 1.0, 2.0 range, technically and probably presentation wise, as far as the 6.0 system went. So you see now there is a technical minimum, but by far these countries have produced so much more well-rounded skaters all the way down to
Hmm.
the bottom. There's enjoyable performances. So the level of skating across the world, just by looking at this as an example, it has improved so drastically, and it's so nice to see.
And you can see that in the depths of like the bigger countries too, like especially like the Japanese single skaters. I still didn't really feel like you were missing out in a field when it came to some of this. And so just thinking of where Four Continents started as that counterpart to Europeans in the late 90s to where it is now, it's taken so seriously.
Yeah,
I I'm really glad that we have this event, and I really enjoyed this way more than I
hmm
honestly thought I did. I enjoyed this more than Europeans,
really.
definitely.
I
Hmm.
mean, there were definitely some more standout performances, I would say, across the board. The skating was probably stronger.
Yeah,
Again, you have a lot of people at Europeans trying to pace themselves for Olympics. Here,
yeah.
not as much. So this is, the end of the season, so to speak, for a lot of these skaters. But yeah, we'll get into all of that. You want to start with dance, I suppose?
Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna go right into it. So,
Yeah.
so we have the winners here. Zingis and Kolesnik. I don't think it was really a surprise to anyone. I honestly expected the margin to be a little bit bigger considering how the season was. But they skated really well. If we're just going down to the medalists, we have Green and Parsons here in second, and then we have the Browns in third. And I love that the Browns actually got second in the free dance here too. So they
hmm
got that silver small medal.
hmm
And then just rounding out the top five, you have Fabry and Ayer from Canada in fourth, then Harrison Chan from Australia in fifth. But just starting off here with the winners, what were your impressions here of Zingas Kolesnik, even just compared to nationals?
I will say I was one in the last few years, and again, this is just going back to what I wrote online because we didn't have this channel. But in the last few years, there were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, this is the best team. This free dance is so good," and I was kind of on the side of, I mean,
Yeah,
they're all
same.
right, you know. And then this year, I am truly, truly blown away with the progress she's made. He's always been rock solid, but she is a brand new ice dancer. This is, I mean, I think her fourth year that she has been in ice dancing. She was trying to qualify for the Olympics in singles for Cyprus in 2022. Completely changes direction, and the progress that she has made and the way they have stepped it up this year is out of this world amazing. Honestly, they are so reliable. You can tell they are well trained. They always hit good positions. I think that their programs are both really good vehicles for them,
Yeah.
especially the free dance. It's so old school but modern at the same
Yep.
time.
Hmm.
And it's just it's not, Romeo and Juliet. If you've watched skating, you've heard that a million times, no less. Like it's something that's not new, but they bring a freshness to it and they bring with these choreographic elements, much like we'll talk about with the Browns, I feel like the program just makes sense to what the music is doing, and nothing feels like it's forced or put in for the sake of it being an IJS program. And that's something that I really respect. I have nothing, I mean, there's no really critiques about them. I think they are so strong. I think in the Olympics, they are truly looking at they breaking in maybe to the top five or top six, just based on how they've been scored all year. And that would be unheard of in the world of ice dance to show up to your first major championship, either Olympics or Worlds, and be in that, so to speak, almost final group. It's just really amazing to me.
And even then, you say like top five, top six. I'm like, they should be even be pushing for higher than that if we're in
Yeah,
a fair world
yeah.
here and you're actually just looking at the skating because I again was blown away by just so many things. Even then, they make me enjoy the choreographic rhythm step and the rhythm dance.
Hmm.
It's just so quick, it's so dynamic, it's so sharp. No one is just even moving this quickly with just this precision too, but it doesn't feel sloppy ever. I'm just like you here, I've said this, I think, like all season about them. This wasn't a team I really considered for an Olympic spot before this season started, and they just proved me so wrong in so many ways. Like I thought they should have won nationals even.
Hmm.
Like I'm just so impressed. Same thing in the free dance here. Like I wrote my notes here. I'm like, wow, they did the 1 foot turns better than the entire 2025 world podium. Wow, their twizzles were
And the
better than the
Twizzles.
entire
Yeah, I
2025
was gonna
world
say.
podium. And just all the
Yeah.
way through, I kept making these comments and no criticism of the skating, no criticism of the elements, like maybe of like the program, like slight construction things, but it's so minor compared to like the whole world of ice dance, really,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
at that point you're just nitpicking, and I totally agree with you. Even when they switch from that almost classical interpretation of Romeo and Juliet to the more modern, especially in the choreographic step, it doesn't feel jarring. It feels
No.
like it works just
Yeah.
completely. And I just still love the way it ends. Like it's really cool. I
Yeah.
just love it's almost like you think of themselves as like actors in a play, right? Almost kind of like they're doing this. Oh, play's done, die, and then just kind of turn off.
Yeah.
It's just super cool all the way through. Well deserved first year. I thought the margin should have been bigger again in both sets of programs here. I would have scored PCS higher in the free dance. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say. I've just said it like a million times all year. Yeah.
I just love that their choreographic elements are so spread out. I mean, they start with one
That
as the
too.
number one element. They have one in the middle and they have one at the end. They do their diagonal step, this long step, as their second to last element. They do that curve lift to me. I really truly don't
Oh, so
understand why
good.
it's not pulling off +4 or +5. I mean, it
Yeah,
is getting
it should
some
be.
+4, but it's like a mix of +3 as well. Same thing with the twizzle. It's like threes across the board in the free dance. I don't understand. It is better
Yeah.
than, well, I mean, I would say it's better than all three teams that are on the world podium. And those
All three.
teams have to do nothing to pull off the +4 and even sometimes higher, which doesn't make sense to me. But if you're comparatively looking head to head, I mean, they skate with more speed. They're more finished. Their lines are better. Their stretch is better. The depth of edge, I would say, is better than half of the skaters on the teams that are on the world podium. So it's just, to
Hmm.
me, I think it's just a case of wait your turn. And this all happened
It
a year
is.
too late because I would be interested to see what would have happened if they rise up the ranks as quickly as they did last year and then had the momentum going into this year. But
Yeah.
this year we know they're not in the contention.
Exactly. And if you're just going to the GOE some of the judges are giving, especially for that curve lift, it's like almost like a perfect element with the music in terms of
Yeah.
execution,
Yeah.
the entry, the exit.
Yeah.
And you're seeing some judges only give 3, and to me it's an
Yeah.
easy +5. I could go
Exactly.
through and just be like, they'll have features for days, no negative features
100%.
at all. It should be a clear +5 element.
Yeah.
And even then, that combination lift, the Japanese judge only gives it a +2. And I'm like, what are you watching? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's only a +2 element to you.
Yeah.
Just the level of precision and control. Maybe the only criticism is it's not as musically relevant as everything
Hmm.
else happening in the program. But then
Hmm.
still, you're maxing at +3. So the +2 just makes no sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So well, they don't run away with the win. They win
They
comfortably, I
should
would
have.
say. They should have ran away with it a little bit more than they did. Second was Green and Parsons here. Also probably not a surprise, really.
Yeah.
They skated a very good competition. The one critique I have for them again, and this goes from nationals and this goes from the Grand Prix and this even goes from previous seasons, is I'm not so sure about the packaging of
Yep.
It's either one or the other program, I feel like, because sometimes they hit it out of the park with one, and then I'm kind of like about the other. I feel like the free dance this year, and I said this at Nationals, so if you listened, it's just repeating myself, but I feel like 90% of the way it's there, and then that ending, and I would say too, the choreographic step that they do just goes on a little bit too long for me, and it's just a bunch of twisting
Yeah.
around in place. And for me, it could have just been more cleaner lines and getting through it quicker, and then just offering more in the program otherwise. But I feel like that goes on a little bit too long, and you know the upbeat tempo that we see in a lot of programs that also just kind of throws off an otherwise nice program. I don't really have bad critiques because I feel like especially they start off their program, their dance spin is amazing, their rotational lift that they begin with is also amazing. I think
Yeah.
they really start off at a super high level and then it kind of just fizzles out to
Yeah,
me.
it tapers away.
Yeah, and then
For
as far
me.
as the rhythm dance, it's kind of to me, it's kind of like the same vibe as their rhythm dance was last year, which is not a problem because I at least like it, and most rhythm dances I don't like this year. But I just feel like they need a new vision, and I think that this is a problem again with their camp that's maybe not quite there in terms of program construction or are really delivering the
Yeah.
elements in an effective way.
And it's, I can see where they're trying to do cool things, right? It's like
Hmm.
that little transition movement into the midline in the rhythm dance.
Hmm.
It was clunky here. It
Yeah,
makes them start off slower. It's
yeah.
that impression just from the get-go isn't as good as it could be. And so I just don't really understand that. And it ends up
Yeah,
being really low impact.
right.
And they're putting it in a part of the program too, where the music doesn't require much, probably on
Yeah,
purpose by design, but it's just not my favorite.
right.
They've got great little quirky touches here and there, and you can see the direction where they could go if the packaging was just tighter, better, more on point. Totally agree with you though about like what's happening in the free dance too. I honestly am a little more critical of the way it kind of just dies off. They
Yeah,
really start to lose me after the curve combination lift. Once they go into that second position, it's still a little awkward to me.
yeah, yeah.
It just really tapers away. And then when it gets to the diagonal step sequence, I'm just like, it feels really low impact again. Musically irrelevant is kind of the way I think about it. And then toward the end, they start jumping the turns. I think when they both do the counter at the same time, it feels jumped for both.
Hmm.
So it just really starts slowing down. Instead of like compare it to Zingis and Kolesnik, where it feels like toward the end, they amp it up. They
Hmm.
don't slow down. They find this energy to give you even better impression than when they started. And so I think it's all these things like happening that just haven't really pushed them past to where they are. They've been trying to get the Olympics now for 2 cycles, didn't make the team last cycle either. And again, just there, but not quite. So I don't really know what it takes other than like you're saying, a different vision. But
Yeah.
we're just going to keep saying
And
the same things about them
yeah.
every year, again and again, until they make some type of change because everything's
Yeah.
almost right there.
One thing you did mention that kind of it's like she's in a shoot the duck where he holds her and it kind of spins her
Hmm.
around him to start the program, the rhythm dance, and that goes into the midline. That it to me, I 100% agree. It looks so clunky. It does not look effortless. It looks like it's a little bit of a struggle, and that is the very first impression you're giving in a program. So it's just these little psychologic things for the judges, I would say, that are like, okay, this doesn't look so easy. And then there's
Right.
reason maybe to bring down the scores, bring down the elements, because a lot of their elements, not the first few elements in the free dance, I can't say anything about those, but a lot of their elements do look like they're a little bit of a struggle or maybe not the best positioning. And I think that just lends itself to giving a lower GOE. And then if it trickles into the PCS. But they come away with silver medal here. Uh, this is the end of their season, most likely, unless they do another small international. But or you never know about Worlds because depending on what happens at the Olympics, we could see them at Worlds, I suppose. In third place, though, here we go. The Browns, just gonna gush about them endlessly.
Oh
Let's
no.
just throw away the Twizzles because that's the one thing we
I
can't
know, I
gush
know, I
about.
know.
But I mean this is just nationals all over again. But I feel like the rhythm dance is probably my favorite of the season. I feel like they truly understand the vibes of the 90s and the silliness, and I love the choreography. I love how they keep the character throughout each and every element. It is not let's do some character whatever and then get into an element and completely forget about it because we're so tense and trying to hold our edges and then get back into character afterwards. No, through every single element they have some kind of this 90s feeling and this silly fun whatever. And then
Yeah,
the free dance again, I will say it and I have
so
said
good.
it. It is truly, I think, the best choreographed program that we've seen in IJS, at least especially since these choreographic elements have been put in, because everything is so seamless, every single thing, and it
all
is
throughout.
so effective. And why the judges will not be, you know, they should really give them, I think, composition and presentation scores in the nines. For me,
I
it
agree.
is just,
Yep.
it is so, like this is what these scores are for, you know? I would easily give them something in the nines. I don't know of a program that's the composition. I don't know any program that is better, and they present the hell out of it. I feel like this is just made for them. This is like in their wheelhouse, and they actually like it and they sell it, and there's just nothing else I can say.
Yeah, I literally am like reading my notes and I'm like, oh, I didn't write any. I'm just literally like, I have
Hmm.
nothing else more to say about the brilliance of this program because it's brilliant, like all the way through. Like you're just saying, it's like the perfect program. I can't think of anywhere where it can be made better. Literally no critiques other than maybe like you're saying, the execution of some of the elements like the twizzles, for example, right?
Yeah.
But in the free dance, they get through it a lot better than in the rhythm
Hmm.
dance where he like checks a turn in each set. But
Hmm.
it's just still so good and enjoyable. I totally know what you mean here. I still remember thinking back when like the Browns first get into the seniors, there was all this hype from juniors, and I just didn't get the programs. I didn't get their interpretation or the packaging. And now just look where they are now, where they have two programs that are just perfectly made for them. Some of the best we're seeing in the field today. Free dance, again, best we've seen in years, this whole
Hmm.
since probably the 2018 cycle. Like
Hmm.
it's pretty like just brilliant stuff going on here, and I agree with you. I'm looking at the PCS here, and they have a few first place in some of these categories. Like Japan puts them first in composition, so does Great Britain. Canada puts them first in presentation, and I'm not disagreeing with these things. They're
Hmm.
it's just really, really, really good skating. Uh, you look at this podium; it doesn't have like any like world medalists or everything, but I don't feel like I'm left wanting at all. This was a really great competition just all the way through. Even going down to some of the skaters after the podium here.
Yeah, Fabry and Ayer are right behind them in fourth, and if you haven't picked up on it, I have a really soft spot for this team. I
Yeah.
think that they are so good fundamentally, and I feel like the problem with them is I don't know what it is with Ice Academy Montreal. I don't have any inside, like I'm not there like spying on what's going on, but I just feel like this team is kind of given leftover or maybe odd ideas that don't really hit as
Yep.
well. The rhythm dance I don't quite understand. I've grown into liking the free dance. The music is whatever, but the actual skating itself is just so good. And then I look at what they're
Yeah.
given and I feel like they can amp up the choreography. I feel like the team that's working with them, I think Zach Donahue actually choreographed the free dance this year. I feel like it could just be amped up to the point where this team should be competing for the highest levels. And I think when you're looking at Canadian nationals, I went back and watched, and even so, I think I would put them on the Olympic team still. I just think that
Yeah,
they
no,
are
they should
that
be.
much better. It's to me, and another thing I will say is the judges and the technical panels don't seem to know what to do with them ever because you see them score really low on one competition and then they're really high in the next. And then they're back to being low and the GOEs are conservative and the PCS isn't great. And then here they're way back up there again and they're getting a season's best. So for me I think it just comes down to they really don't know what to do with the programs. I feel like it just seems like maybe there's more effort put in with other teams, and I mean, whatever.
I
Maybe that's not true, but I just feel like
Right.
they should be a team that actually has they have the backing and the foundations to actually be one of the top teams. So why are you not putting the effort in there?
I totally agree with you too. Maybe we don't have the inside knowledge, but we have context clues, and you're just looking at the quality of the product given to some teams and
Hmm.
the ones given to Fabry and Iyer. And to me, it's the same thing. It's just generic programs that I feel like you could give to anybody that isn't really made for them at all. I don't really get what's going on in the rhythm dance. Like I wrote here that why did they put her in I Dream of Jeannie pants? Like I just it's not 90s. You're not really getting this feel of what they're going for, the mood or the vibe. I think about the midline step and it's just musically irrelevant, like, and just feels like that so much. And I wrote here, it's like, yeah, I am just ran out of ideas here because this rhythm dance is just full of finger pointing. And that's really it. That's like the choreographic motif all throughout is, oh, look, pointed to the sky,
Hmm.
pointed out in a direction. And the music edit also just feels nonsensical to me. I don't
Hmm.
get these three tracks together other than just let's just find some music that kind of works. And even then, again, feels like an afterthought. Same thing for the free dance. I think they switched the order of some of the elements here to try to fix the phrasing issues because I still remember when we first saw this, the music like vibe and mood changes in the middle of a dance spin
Yeah,
at
yeah.
first, and I think they moved the dance spin so now it's like happening in the middle of the step sequence.
Hmm.
Not as egregious, still fairly egregious in my opinion. This leave a light on music can just literally be given to anybody. Then it's being skated almost like in the style of like
If
Papadakis and
I'm not wrong though,
Cicerone.
if I'm not wrong though, I think that this music, like the theme behind it means it has some connection to him and his
Oh, it
life.
does?
So
Okay.
I think that's why that is there. The music is we've heard it before in skating. I watched this program, three, I think three times in practice at Skate America, and I really warmed up to it. I mean, I just the thing is they're such good skaters, and it's
Yeah,
one
the
of these
skating is
cases
so
where
solid.
I'm
Yeah.
just frustrated that
Hmm.
you look at lesser teams and not to put any other teams down at Ice Academy Montreal, and I'm not going to name them, but they get these standout programs year after year, and the skating level is nowhere near what this team is capable of or what
Yeah.
they put out time and time again. So that's where my frustration comes because I
Yeah.
think that
And
you can even take this and elevate what the material is with stronger content within the program, and I feel like they're just not getting that.
I agree because, I'm looking at the GOE here and it's so many twos and threes, right? Maybe a few fours trickling in. And what's really going to push a team into those force fives is getting those GOE bullet points that have to do with fitting to the program, right? How musical it is, the innovative part, the idea of adding to the character and the overall theme of the program. That's how a
Hmm.
lot of these teams are getting into those fours and fives for these elements. And I just never feel like there's any really great moment, even just musically with an element in the free dance. And so they're always going to be stuck in this like low 110s as like a ceiling until that changes. I don't really know what needs to happen. And I feel like you're saying it's probably just the idea that Montreal now has like what IAM has like over 20 teams, maybe 30, like crazy. And those are the ones we know about. Those aren't even like the up and coming teams that don't skate in like junior, senior ranks. So
Hmm.
it's a factory. And whenever you have a system like this that feels very conveyor belt in a factory, some teams fall through the cracks, get left behind. And I think that's what's happening to them. They deserve a lot better than they're getting, in my opinion.
Harris and Chen, they finish in fifth place. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but it's more or less because of the mistakes made right behind them. But uh, really well skated. I would say the Twizzles are always kind of the dicey moment for them, and we saw in the free dance again. This is an issue, and even in the rhythm dance, it was an issue. The free dance is a repeated program, and I think it's a pleasant program. What I read is that they kept this program because they knew they would have to go to the Olympic qualifier, and they wanted to be super prepared for it. And I would
Yeah.
say in that sense, it's actually a smart idea because you know this program already. You're not throwing together something new. They did qualify for the Olympics. They finished second in that competition in September. Pleasant. There's nothing really more I can add. It's another case, I would say, of maybe I wouldn't say the skating is nearly as strong as the Canadians right ahead of them. That's one thing. But I
Yeah.
also think that maybe the choreography could be a little bit elevated with them as well. I do like the vibe of the rhythm dance a lot, though. I feel like this is an identity. Um, it stands out to me in a good way, I would say. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I really like it too, but like you're saying in terms of like comparing to Fabri and Iyer in terms of just the skating too, I think this is better material with not as good skating, right?
Mhm.
And you just kind of see that here too. I think in the rhythm dance where it requires like a whole element where you're pretty much in hold the entire time, you see that quality of skating just kind of dip compared to the free dance where it's a lot more freer, a lot more open, and the impression is way better. Yeah, I don't really have much to add on them too. I really enjoyed them. I'm glad they're skating a lot better than they were even just like 2 or 3 seasons ago, where it
Hmm.
felt like they had their I don't really know what was going on, but it's like they had some type of identity crisis in terms of what type of skaters they wanted to be, what type of programs they wanted to be. I thought they were going to lean to this like young and cool vibe, but they're now leaning maybe more toward like classical ice dance
Traditional,
vibes,
yeah.
traditional ice dance vibes, which is working right now. But I kind of would like to see a change, but we'll see.
Hmm.
I really hope they stick around though, because I really do enjoy them every time I see them out.
Hmm. And then in sixth, Lim and Kwan from South Korea, they had major issue. He on the Twizzles in the rhythm dance. If I'm not wrong, I think it was called base level when all was
Yeah,
said and
base
done.
level.
Um, and yeah, this program is so high school, but it's like
It
fun
is.
in a way. I think I told this story where when I was in fifth grade, we had to create a dance to Men in Black, and like the team right next to us copied off of us, and I was so mad. Anyways, the so that's like my memory of Men in Black. But I think it's a fun program for them. Not skated well.
Yeah,
Then the free dance for me again, Adagio for strings. Watch Matt Savoy's performance to this in 2004 and 2005 short program. It is one of the best programs of all time. But when the vocals come in, it just loses me. I don't think it needed to have
yeah.
vocals. This is just a case of,
Nope.
for me, it's not really hitting where it should. Um, I will say though, the in the 1 foot turn, she was given a level 4, and I actually made a clip of it and put it on the Instagram channel. For me
Yeah,
though,
it's a
I'm not really sure how,
yeah.
but
Yeah, no,
they did
I
skate it well. They skated it well.
the 1 foot turn calls here were incredibly generous in
Yeah.
this competition is the way, I'll say that, in my opinion anyway. I think every team maybe should have just gotten one or two levels lower for where they were putting out there. But I agree with you, rhythm dance, same thing. It's really high school vibes and the skating's really small. He has that big twizzle error and it's like, so what happens is I think in the second set, he does one rotation, puts his foot down, and then just loses balance, and then completely steps out of it after the second rotation. So it's level one, then -1 level for the foot down, and so base, right? But everything just feels like small. The skating feels really small in this field. So even then, this vehicle doesn't even give them really kind of like the ability to skate outward or express outward. It's just kind of like a cool, like you're saying, like program. And then in the free dance, I feel like that problem it just gets even worse to where you feel like it's forgettable because they're not really able to express it in a way where they're normally able to skate just outward, be so expressive, be so extroverted. Because I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind
True.
of been how they've captured all of our attention before, how like the elements just give a better impression because of that. Whereas here, the beginning of the program is so understated. Everything feels musically irrelevant to me. Like
Hmm.
it's just here's some really nice music, and we're just gonna do some elements with this music in the background with some pained faces that aren't
Hmm.
even matching at times because
Hmm.
I feel like they switch between like melancholy sometimes, anguish, and then anger. Um, and I don't feel it's purposeful. I don't feel like it's in service of any type of story they're trying to tell. So yeah, I remember nothing about this program, to be honest with you. Nothing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pleasant,
yeah,
but for me, and I'm not saying it's not all about music choice because the elements have to match. And if you can turn
yeah,
music that I would not be crazy about, for example, The Godfather, I would not say I'm crazy about
right.
that music. If you choreograph it in a way and you sell it in a way, then it's going to stand out. For me, this just really starts out all right, and then just with the vocals and I don't really know what the story is, be it what they're trying to give, because like you said, they're kind of not matching what the emotions are. And that's not everything because you should be looking at the skates and not the faces, right? But a lot of people look at the faces and that's their whole opinion of the program. But uh I would say it just kind of loses me as well, and it's pleasant, but it's not hitting for me.
Right. So like even then, like I feel like they get here almost 111, and that feels really generous
Yeah.
for
I
me
mean, their
just for that
levels were very
too.
high. Their levels
Yeah.
were high. Their PCS was high. I don't
Hmm.
disagree with the PCS being where it is, but um, yeah, I think that just it was they were judged very generously, I think, on their levels, especially
And
on their
yeah,
individual elements. So.
I agree. Hmm.
Yoshida Morita finished behind them in seventh. I think that this is one of the coolest rhythm dances of the year. It's a piece that's popular in Japan and not necessarily popular in the rest of the world. So we get a different kind of vibe from this than the typical Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys. Uh, and so um, again, a problem. This actually competition was interesting because in the rhythm dance there were so many twizzle issues. There were a few in the free dance, but
Yeah.
in the rhythm dance, I feel like a lot of the teams had really big struggles with the twizzles, and this was the case for them. I still I mean, I love this program actually. I really love
Me
it,
too.
and I'm happy that we're going to see it at least in the team event because they are the only Japanese ice dancers, so they will skate in the rhythm dance at the least, and I'm sure they're going to be in the free dance as well. But I'm happy that I'll get to see it again on a big stage, and I feel like this is one of the programs that if the ISU is so concerned with these viral moments, I feel like this is one that could potentially do that in the Olympics.
Yeah, I think so too. It's really fun. The rhythm dance is so fun, especially in the pattern step. Even if like the skating's not the best, the performance is, you know? And I'm just looking at like the little quirks and nice touches they do. It makes it really unique. And you can see that all the way through. Even then it like extends the choreographic rhythm step, which I really enjoy. And they just go quickly down the ice. It's not like this thing to where like they're just like hamming it up. They're slowly voguing and just kind of like walking down. They just go straight down and kind of like perform. It's like a
Hmm.
different style that you haven't really seen. Maybe it doesn't lend itself into GOE because you know they're not slowing down and taking time to show the judges things. But you know it is really nice like all the way through. Free dance I still don't like.
But they
I know it's like a
changed it for you at
repeat and
least.
it's
Yeah.
they did. It's better, way better than that Turando program, which was
Yeah.
awful. I've already said my words on that. They abandon it. All is forgiven, but still terrible. It's just still forgettable. And the choreographic step in the free dance, it's just so basic. It's literally that criticism that we give to all these really simple
Hmm.
choreographic
Hmm.
step elements, and that's what they're doing. They're just kind of walking down, like it almost feels like they're buying time, almost too, and slowing down so they can like make sure they time that like choreographic lift moment where they have that hawk sound for the phoenix going out through for like no reason. But other than that, you know, it was enjoyable. I'm glad we'll see them at the Olympics, even if it's just a team competition.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Any other thoughts about any other teams for dance?
I mean, we saw Wang and Lee here. The rhythm dance looked so bad. I actually
Hmm.
thought they were overscored in both
Yeah.
phases for what they put out there. I know it's home ice and everything, but I just don't really agree with some of these scores, I gotta say. In the rhythm dance, I would have placed them like behind the other two Chinese teams.
Yeah, I actually
You know,
agree.
like that rhythm
Yeah.
dance was so bad the all the way through. Choppy skating, the elements weren't great. Like it felt really nervy. But yeah. Mhm.
I I like the music of the program. I feel like it's interesting. I feel like they put all their energy into that qualifying competition and their
Yeah.
season has kind of gone down a little bit.
Hmm.
Like their level of skating doesn't really match what they started off the season with. And yeah, I have to say I think that the other two Chinese teams are more interesting. I feel like they uh have the better skating skills. Actually, both of them, I would say. And
Yep.
I think it's just a matter of time. Like, yeah, send Wang and Liu to the Olympics, and then I think that depending if the teams stay together or not, I think these other teams are going to pass them if they do indeed stay around. Yeah.
Hmm.
All
Yes.
right,
I totally agree.
let's let's move on to the women's competition, and this also was a sweep of the medals by the Japanese team. And I just want to say, if you go back and watch Grand Prix, I don't even remember which Grand Prix, but Yuna Aoki is 100% my favorite skater. And I've said when I saw these programs, I'm like, there is no skater that has choreography like this. And then there's no skater that amps the choreography with every last note.
Yeah,
Every single note is sensed by her body. And if we're talking about composition of a program, extremely strong. If we're talking about presentation, this is a 10.0 level skater. And this is why the mark
I agree.
exists. She is one of a kind, especially in this generation of skaters. We don't really see so many artistes, if you will. She stands out and she should be given absolutely the highest PCS time and time again. No
She was
question.
yep, I totally agree with you. Just to go back, she was at NHK and Skate Canada. Right. And she places sixth in both, right? So
Mhm.
we I know we've been raving about her all year before she was even getting these great results. She doesn't even medal at Japanese nationals, right? But she gives this
Hmm.
amazing performance.
Hmm.
I have watched that free dance from Japanese nationals like I don't even know how many times,
Yeah.
countless times. It's just full of this joy, this like lightness, this purity of skating. If you want to go back to that story we were telling from Miyamada, it makes you think of like Janet Lynn. It makes you just think of that. It's just this. I don't worry about the elements in terms of my enjoyment. They aren't
Hmm.
necessary. They add
Hmm.
to it in terms of that momentum and
Yeah.
everything that you get from a great skate, but I don't need it. Like, totally agree with you. This win, I love. It was surprising to me, and I know it kind of came off on the heels of like, her compatriot making some big mistakes in the long program. But I don't know. I'm gonna watch um this performance a lot. Like I think both phases again,
Hmm.
again, again. My only gripe is that the audio issues here
Yeah.
from like the arena and then at the broadcasts were like bad. And it
Hmm.
makes like the audio levels in the for free skate just go almost like up and down. It feels really inconsistent. And that just drove me nuts. But that's like the one knock. I'm hoping there's a fan cam that we find sometime
Hmm.
soon so I can just watch that and enjoy that because this was such a good skate. Um, she gets one generous call. That flip should have been under, but
Hmm.
instead of Q, but that was just kind of this whole panel all throughout, just giving Qs when they should have given unders. But
Hmm.
oh, so good. So, so, so good. I'm so glad she got this like win, especially since she was gonna retire last year. And
Last
then
year,
just
yeah.
yeah, and then didn't. And now she did this. She brought so much just great, like just enjoyment for me. I know she's found a lot of new fans like throughout the world. Like I really glad she stuck around.
This is
I don't
what
know. I'm
skating
smiling
should
like a
be.
crazy person.
It
Yeah,
is what skating should be, and we see people so focused on getting through the elements or just not really giving a program. And then you see a skate like this, and for you to tell me a skater that skates through the music deserves nines in PCS, and then you look at this, like there is a drastic difference.
I
This is what
know.
the PCS criteria is asking for. Every single criteria she hits. And I will say, in the short program, they didn't really know what to do with her PCS wise. They had her, to only be in this field, to be fifth in PCS and have, as you noted, one of the judges put her all the way down to ninth. This is insanity.
I
Insanity.
know. Yeah,
I
no,
don't
and
know.
you're just looking at that. It's the South African judge
Hmm.
puts her 10th in presentation in the short program, 8th in composition. She has PCS in sevens. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's just nuts. I don't, nuts. Australian judge puts her in 7th in PCS. Nuts. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. This is easily to me first or second
Hmm.
PCS. Maybe you can argue Monet Chiba because she has better skating skills
But
and,
not in that
you
short
know,
program.
but not in the short program, right?
No. Yeah.
Um, but like, and that's really the only argument you can make. I don't see how this is justified if you're actually judging what you're watching,
Hmm.
unless you're just trying to rank them based on where you feel like they should be
Or
based
how
on
much they're
their
known.
past
Yeah.
results or how well they're known, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that there was a course correction for most judges in the long
Of
program because they
course
saw
there
like, oh,
was.
she's second now. Now I have to give her like eights instead of putting her in sevens.
The sport
But
is
then
so
even
stupid. It's so stupid for
exactly.
that reason. Like
Yep.
just look at the criteria. There's only like five criteria per PCS and then apply them correctly. If the skater is skating to the music and hitting every single note and the choreography is
Every single
standout,
one.
then you know what? You give the highest scores and that's it. You
Right.
cannot
And I'm
say
just
it's
for
it's
real.
so reputation based. It's just it's dumb. Like this is
And then,
dumb.
because even in like the long program here, the New Zealand judge still ranks her third in PCS. I'm like, what are you watching? What were
Yeah.
you watching compared to all the rest of us?
They
Even
weren't a
like
fan of
your
La La
peers,
Land.
apparently
That's
not,
it.
right? They
Yeah.
must, and it's not my favorite music, but I love this program. Like Yuna Aoki makes me like La La Land, and
She makes me really love skating because this
love
is
skating too.
what
Yeah.
you can do. Not every
Hmm.
skater is so inherently musically sensitive. I get that. But like if you run away with the technical merit because you can do all these quads or all these difficult elements, then you should be able to run away with the PCS when you're so standout like this and not be
Right.
just a few points ahead of the next skater. This is by far the best PCS skater. It's just that's it.
For real. And you look at here, the New Zealand judge gives an 8.25 in composition. Insane. But thank you to the Korean judge who gives her 9.5. That's
Thank
where she
you.
should be,
Exactly.
minimum.
100%. Yeah.
Same thing with presentation, gives her 9.5. Most of the judges judge in the nines, except for the New Zealand, Australian, and Chinese judges. So just shame on you three for just choosing not to follow the criteria because that's the only excuse.
Yeah.
You don't put this in the nines.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's my rant for that.
You know what? A win's a
Still
win,
glad she
though.
won. Should
Yeah,
have been bigger.
exactly.
Should have been
Yeah.
a bigger margin in
Yeah.
this win from PCS.
Yeah. Ami Nakai ends up with the silver medal. She is headed to the
Mhm.
Olympics as second best in Japan. Uh, I I really, really like her. I feel like that first skate she had in France in the Grand Prix was her standout skate in the short
Yeah.
program. She was on fire. Since then, I'm not really feeling that. I love how when she lands her jumps and kind of throughout the program, you can tell she also just has a joy of skating. She's so
Hmm.
excited by everything. It's just not hitting quite as much with me now. You know, she does have a triple axel, more or less. She did it in the short. She like put her free foot down, and then in the free skate she fell on it.
Yeah.
But that is her moneymaker, if you will. And if she does land it in the short program in the Olympics, I could see her being potentially first, second, third place, depending what everybody else does. Um, but here, yeah, a little bit rough, and I would say, I do agree that I'm sorry, that Yuna Aoki should have ran away with the competition comparatively, just seeing how they both skated. The free skate to me again is bordering on a little bit like I don't want to say junior because there's no difference between junior and senior, but I just feel like it's young. It's just a
Yeah.
very young
I
kind of
agree.
skate. And to me, there's just no comparison with the two. But she did skate very, very well, and I can't take away the silver medal. She was good. I just feel like again, these PCS need to be used in a way that the rules say they should be used, and that's it.
Right, right. For real, because I don't see how the composition of this free program is equal to or better than what Aoki is putting out there. It wasn't. And some judges thought it was. Whatever.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed her skates overall too. I think she's really set up and positioned really well to kind of be that leader in the next cycle if she starts finding this consistency, if she
Mhm.
starts skating, at least giving more frequently like she did, when she first just kind of burst on into the the Grand Prix season this year.
Yep.
She got some benefit of the doubt calls here, exclamations that were full ease,
Mhm.
cues that were clearly under. But again, that's
No.
every single skater
Yep.
in this competition. But again, if everything got, in my opinion, called like it should have been, again, Aoki is, again, should have a wider lead than everyone else. So no complaints though about the second place here. I
Mhm.
skated really well, and I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to, her in the future.
Yeah. Monet Chiba, she is, if you look around online, she's a skater that's really getting kind of a split opinion. I think there's a lot of people that think she is extremely overrated and more or less gets the benefit of the doubt from the judges time and time again and the technical panels. She does have tiny jumps. You know, you look at
Yeah.
like for example her double axel and you could be like, that could be like Q or under sometimes, and it kind of goes through for almost every jump. Uh, Short program is repeated this year. It's Last Dance by Donna Summer. It's effective when she skates it well. Here, she was not close on the left. She fell on it, and I feel like she
Yeah.
fell a little bit flat. Now, she has amazing skating skills. This is something that we both said. Seeing her at Worlds, I don't necessarily think you even need to see her in person to understand this, but she could get all the way down the ice surface just by one little pull of an edge. Literally, she's that good on her skating skills. But when everything starts to fall flat, you know, I would say there's no comparison again to Aoki here. I don't think that I don't think this program is tailor made for her. Maybe like, you know,
Right.
it's just kind of out of her wheelhouse. And she was warming up to it a lot, I would say, earlier in the year. But again, when you make mistakes, it falls flat a little bit to me, and it's not any different here. And then Romeo and Juliet, like a compilation of every Romeo and Juliet that's ever been made in the free skate. And it's skated well. You know, again, I think that she's given the benefit of the doubt, and we said this about all the skaters, but more so her. If we're looking at the podium, I
Right.
think she was given more benefit as far as jump rotations, jump edges. Um, but I think that her strength of skating really shines through. But there are three criteria for the PCS, and if you want to go so high on skating skills, which is fair, then you know balance it out with maybe not the best. I would say the composition's good. I would say the presentation's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just think again, Aoki really should have run away with this hands down, and it's just that mark was made for her, and I don't know how many times I can say it.
Yeah, and I think too when we talk about the next skater who also had some like issues here too, though. But like if you look, 5 out of 7 jumping passes have some type of rotation call,
Hmm.
and every one of those rotation calls, in my opinion, should be a little down. Like all these
Yeah,
cues are actually unders. That
yeah,
triple sock cow kind of was really close to being a downgrade to me,
yeah.
And so you keep doing that. Now all of a sudden she's scoring in like the 110s instead of the
Hmm.
130s, right?
Hmm.
But maybe that's where this skate should have been. The free skate wasn't great, in my opinion, just for that. Like you're saying, once the jumps are done, it's great. I love it.
Hmm.
Enjoyed it
Yep.
so much, especially that step sequence. That step sequence is amazing.
Hmm.
Just all the like you're saying, the skating skills and that with the full body movement and control, different angles, different like planes in the choreography that she's moving her body. It's so musical too. Like it's just excellent control all the way through. And so I really enjoy the ending. It's just everything leading up to that
Hmm.
feels like such a struggle. Her PCS here just for that reason, in the free program versus the short is down. It is a little worse, but still a great skate. But in terms of like whether this should have medaled or not, it's a bit up in the air for me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you look at Brady Tennell right behind her, and she really has, she's like a machine. She goes out there and delivers time and time again. This, she is one though that I would say gets hit a little bit harder
yeah,
maybe than the others for doing more or less the same. Triple Lutz, triple toe, uh, and the short program it actually was called under. I feel like every single time that's just her built-in technique, and I've said this many times. I feel like she twists her body. I don't ever feel like it's a round. They did call it in the short. I don't think they called it in the free skate, which is pretty
they
par for
did.
the courses. Oh, they did call
No,
it
they
under
did. They
rotated?
called
Okay.
an under. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that I 100% agree with that. I feel like that is just her technique. Um, she got hit with a few other things in the free skate. I would say, maybe a little bit generous as far as Q goes. We know how we
Yeah.
feel about the Qs, but she's just skating so well. She is skating on a level that she was skating in 2019, 2020. She made the Grand Prix final that year. It looked like she was going to step up into that top level, and then COVID, of course, just changed the trajectory for almost all those skaters. But she's really, really hitting it home time and time again. I think that the programs are better for her this year. I think last year was a total miss. I think in the last few years she's had a few misses. Her skating skills are not as strong. Her composition of program is definitely not as strong as the Japanese women, but she's giving enjoyable performances. I don't know if this is the end for her or not. I've not seen anything, but
Yeah.
she can be really happy with how this year went. I think in any other season in recent history, actually, I mean, we're going back probably 20 years. I mean, we have to probably go back to the Hughes, Cohen, Kwan era to find a team that she would not make based on the skates that she's
Yeah.
given all year. And I think that that just shows how strong U.S. skating is right now. Unfortunately, she's just there as the fourth best. But she should be very proud of how she's come back and really turned her career around. And she's really, really delivering strong performances.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I really enjoyed both of her skates here. I actually really like the short program. I really like the long program has grown on me more too. Like, because I enjoy the mission music, and I feel like she's more into it now, even just emotionally. Again, a lot of like benefit the doubt calls, like everyone else is getting. I do though want to just call out one of the judges again. So in the short program, she actually wins PCS from 4 of the 9 judges.
Wow.
She gets 4 first place ranks, right?
Wow.
But the craziest one though is the New Zealand judge ranks her first in skating skills. And I'm sorry, love Brady. I no.
Hmm.
No, everything else is
Hmm.
debatable. I could see like you saying
No.
presentation,
Composition, no.
composition,
No.
right? Well, there's an argument to be made,
Yeah.
maybe, right? But
No.
skating skills, absolutely not. For you, no, no, okay.
No. I mean,
Same for
again,
the Australian judge does it too. Ranks her
Aoki
first in
is
skating skills.
Yuna Aoki is just so far ahead of everybody else. If you want a
Well,
comparison,
of
think
course.
about Elia with his jumps and his TES, how far ahead he is of everyone. Yuna is just, in my opinion, again, these PCS can be subjective, and some people want to talk about the costume, the makeup, the hair, whatever, what
Yeah,
they're
I know
doing with
nothing
their
about it.
faces, the PCS. That's not it. If you're looking at the actual criteria for the PCS, she hits every single criteria, and I've said it so many times that it's just.
Yep,
Hopefully
totally.
people, hopefully I've convinced everybody that that's just how it is. Uh, Hyan Lee finishes in fifth. I like her short program. The free skate is Carmen. It's kind of just like it's just there.
Yeah,
It's one
for
of
real.
those.
Hmm.
It's one of those typical nondescript. I don't really remember anything from it because I usually don't when it comes to Carmen because they're not really interpreting any of the music. But I do. I think that the short program is very. For me, it's more interesting than most everything she has done in the past. This is a good
See,
result for her, though.
it is, considering where she had been after that world medal, having a lot of struggles skating. I disagree with the short program. I actually think it's pretty, but it feels low impact. It's like she herself doesn't bring enough intensity to it because she has to fill the space that the music's leaving for her, and she
Hmm.
doesn't, in my opinion.
Hmm.
She can't just skate it like she skates any other kind of generic
Yeah.
Korean ladies program. And that's just what I feel like she's stuck in. Carmen, she tries to bring something to it, but like you're saying, it's just not great. There's nothing unique happening there. And she has a lot of benefit of the doubt calls too, like everybody else. I feel like I'm just going to harp on that for the entire panel here, and for every skater. But yeah, it's really good. I don't know if she's staying in or not though. Um, but
I
it
think
feels like
she's
she's
young
finding
enough
that
that she
form
will
again.
still. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's finding that form again that got her that world medal. So if she keeps going on this track, well, who knows what she ends up next season. I just want better programs,
Mhm.
less cookie cutter, more interesting.
Yeah, Jia Shin, her teammate, finishes right behind her, and she had a long way to come back after that short program.
Yeah.
Just not a good program for her. I get what you're saying, and you're probably going to go into this in detail, but her arms are lovely and her back is kind of stiff. So you have this upper body not really doing this much, while like her arms are doing
Yeah, it's
all
so
the work
weird.
more or less. Yeah. I see where that's coming from. I still think she's a lovely skater. I think that I think the big hurdle for her is just that short program or whatever for whatever reason is just such a thing. It's in her head, and I think that
Yeah.
the mistakes come in more often than not, and when it does, it just makes the whole program a little bit flat until the end. But when she delivers, it's really to me, it's very nice. You know, stiff back, whatever. She's still very pleasant to watch. And then the free skate, of course, she has to really pull it back in. But even then, it wasn't completely great. I mean, she fell on the loop. Um, she still was able to pull herself all the way up to sixth. I think had she had a clean competition, she was probably fighting for the podium here.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and so I think that you can't quite count her out as far as the Olympics goes. I don't think she's going to be, in the medal contention, but I think she could be within the top 10 pretty easily. Uh, and yeah, she's pleasant. I think that she does need to loosen up a bit. I think that she needs to stop being so focused on maybe not making mistakes because to me it seems like she does get in her head. But I find her quite lovely, and both of her programs are very traditionally classical, and I enjoy that.
Yeah,
And I will say, as far as Korean women go, she actually stands out to me. Like I remember a lot from her programs, rather than just sensing that the program was given to them and they skate through it.
yeah, you can see in the short program because I wrote here like she's just expressionless. Like she's not in it. She's just doing the movements she's supposed to, trying to focus on the jumps, and it just doesn't happen. I think she places 14th in the short program and then fifth in the free program. But then even that, you can see her PCS is just deflated from having such an early skate order.
Mhm.
Some of the judges rank her fifth PCS, but she has like PCS ranks all the way down to 14th, which is the
Mhm.
South African judge who somehow puts her in the sixes for every PCS category because of her skate order, right? Like, so
Most
I'm like,
likely, yeah.
no, it's, I don't see where this is sixes, right? I can see sevens. I would put some of these skating skills like a little higher, maybe like 8.0 or something, but sixes, okay, sure. Whatever.
People phone it in. They phone it in. They
They
think that
really
everyone
do.
else is going to do that, so they do that as well. I wish we would have had the Europeans judges here because I think we would have seen,
Yeah.
especially in the men's competition that we'll get to, I think that we would see a much different kind of result. And yeah,
Hmm.
we'll talk about it. Gabrielle Daleman making her comeback this year, tried to get to the Olympics, just fell short. She was second at nationals by a very slim margin. I think it was 3 or 4 points. Short program was very good. I think that seeing how she was the last few years, if anything, she would more or less hit in the short, and then the free skate would come apart. Here though, I feel like she's skating faster. I think she's skating more focused, and I feel like this is
Hmm.
the Daleman that we knew way back when, even before her world medal in 2017, I would say like 2015, 2016, when she was first really getting up there in seniors, people noticed her attack and her speed. And I feel like more of that is coming back. I think she's really put
Yep.
in the work this year. So yeah, really good short program, put her in fourth place. Free skate again, though, like it's just. I don't ever trust that she's really going to get through a free skate completely because more or less she does start to fall apart. I don't know if she's also staying in. I think I actually read that she does plan to stay in. I would hope so. The amount of work she put in this year, why not just, try again because it was
Right.
so close at nationals. But yeah, the program just kind of it is a repeat. She used it a few years ago. I probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I don't remember, but it's just for me, it's just kind of there. Actually, you know what? I think this program's even older than that. If I'm not wrong, she had this one year and she dumped it to go to some. I don't know, but it's
Unless you would
definitely
know, I
something.
honestly don't
It's
remember.
something she's skated before. But yeah, so she's seventh overall, which is a good result for her. I just don't. I don't know what it's going to take to actually get more or less through a free skate without major errors because it was pretty messy in that free skate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really enjoy the short program. My only criticism was that like it's just a little sloppy, but you can see to where that's just her coming back into form because that attack, that power is there. Just the movements need to be sharper, more precise. And they're just not right now. You can see that just clean skate, but PCS in the sevens, score in the highest 60s. She is capable of getting into the 70s. It's just that little extra bit all the way through. Um, yeah, the long program just like you could see it just kind of falling apart. And like you're saying, it's probably stamina because she starts doubling jumps. I feel like that concentration isn't there, and the sloppiness just gets really bad toward the second half, right? It's even worse than the short program. So I'm not really like arguing this result either. I think it's a very fair result for her. The seventh here, and it's a great climb back, and it's she could easily still find herself as the number one Canadian lady next year if she keeps this trajectory and the progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Canadian women that are kind of right there and I think it could go any direction really. Um Next year I think it's wide open. So I think if she wants, she really should stay in and put in another try. Sarah Everhart, we were told at US Nationals, and I said I'm going to use that quote on the show, but we were told she is a personality away from a world medal. I think, though, if you compare her to where she was at last year to this year, you see little by little she is
Mhm.
hitting more and more under rotations. She's letting the airs creep in a little bit more. I love the music of the free skate. This is a case where the music of the free skate is so quirky and out there and just so strange, but the skating doesn't really do anything with it. So this is an opposite case of where I really hate the music, but the skating elevates it. This is a case where I like the music, but the skating just doesn't go anywhere. Riverdance in the
Yeah.
short program, again, I feel like she just skates right through it. I wish it would just be she would just like enjoy what she's doing and really sell it and give that oomph to all her movements because she is a big skater and she already has all those qualities that can really elevate the performance with excitement if she would just, sell it a little bit more. But here, not a good skate.
Hmm.
Lots and lots of rotation calls, and then even then a lot of mistakes in the free skate. She falls to 11th actually in the free skate and eighth overall here.
Yeah, if you're looking at the free skate, there's only one out of the seven jumping passes that has positive GOE.
Mhm.
Everything else has negative, either just mistakes or rotation issues. Um, so I really wonder too, like if she's not gonna have that technical consistency, she has to find some other way to like get the judge's attention to get that PCS,
Mhm.
Only one judge even gives her PCS that's like solidly in the eights, and that's the South African judge, which, maybe I'm just going to complain about this judge
Yeah,
all
I don't.
throughout,
Yeah,
because she gets ranked third in PCS in the long program, which I don't understand.
yeah.
But
I
they had
don't.
to
I don't.
explain it to their peers, maybe in the meeting after. Who knows?
I don't know. That is so just from everything, and now I'm looking. It's just such reputation based skater. Blah blah blah. It's
I
really
know.
that's all it was there. Simone Kina is ninth. I like her a lot. I think that her short program's a lot better than her free skate. I like the personality
Yeah,
she gives. She usually has these huge jumps where she comes down, already done rotating, and then she lands and she lets this edge just kind of swoop her out, and that's really nice to see. I think she was a little bit muted here as far as the presentation.
I agree.
The free skate just doesn't really do it for me, but I think that she is another one that with more time to build herself up, I think she's going to be right up there. She just needs to deliver, obviously, because if she doesn't, then they won't give her the PCS. But I really enjoy her.
Yeah, same. I only need to add like she's like fun. She has this like lightness to her, but I feel like that comes on a lost here in this competition. I didn't feel like there was this level of like fun that you normally
Hmm.
see from her. The long program felt really tight all the way
Hmm.
through, especially when you're looking at this like, ooh, rotation issues like
Hmm.
crazy, and some benefit of the doubt too with some of these like calls. So, I'm hoping she finds like a better form next year, especially since she's gonna get hopefully two Grand Prix next year.
She should.
She should, right? And so maybe just that she'll be prepared
Well,
earlier and just
if
all the
she
way through.
finishes in the top 12 at World, she's going to by default. And then
Yeah.
with all the retirements, I would say she's clearly in there for two Grand Prix events.
Yeah, hopefully.
Going down the line, I mean, I just want to make special mention of a few skaters. Fionn Landry of Canada had a really good free skate. She was the highest scoring Canadian skater in the free skate. She's right in there as somebody that if she hits at nationals, she could walk away with the national championship next year or in the next few years. And then I also really enjoyed Tara Prasad. She's not the strongest skater by any means. She has a under rotation issues. She's trying the most difficult jumps. She has edge calls on her jumps. She's just an interesting kind of out there skater. I think she choreographs for herself, or at least in the last few years she did. She's one skater that, like I talked about at the beginning, it's a skater you wouldn't see really otherwise any other time.
Hmm.
So every single year I enjoy watching her. She skates for India. And then also she did not have a good competition, but Andrea Cantu from Mexico, she is so pleasant to watch. I think her programs are beautiful. Her posture is really good. Her stretch is good. Her jump technique, more or less, is very good when she lands the jumps. I always enjoy watching her. The free skate was not good for her. The short program
Yeah.
wasn't either, but she's a skater that I enjoy seeing at Four Continents every single year, and this year was no different.
Yeah, same thing, with these skaters. I also just want to call out to the Madonna Frozen program from Zhang. It was just really cute and really nice. I just that different vibe you're not seeing today
Yeah,
in skating. Everyone's going for these like really pretty or like
yeah,
nice
yeah.
presenting programs, and she's going for something that's more like intense
Dark.
and
Yeah.
cool and
Yeah.
darker. And I just really appreciated that, even if the skate in the short program wasn't as strong, just because she messes up the combination. But she still places top 10 overall.
Hmm.
The long program's a lot better. It's pretty much clean,
Hmm.
but it's just not the type of program I enjoy nearly as much.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for women. So again, Japanese sweep of the medals. No real big surprise, but so happy for Yuna Aoki to have her moment. And
Yeah.
I hope this encourages her to stay in even more. I mean,
Please.
I don't know if she's ever going to be completely respected on PCS, but she's somebody that will be a fan favorite guaranteed for years to come if she does stick with it. So I hope she does.
Hmm.
All right, let's move on to pairs now. Surprise at the top, actually. Efimova and Mitrofanov from the United States, the
Yeah.
team that cannot go to the Olympics because of citizenship issues. They win here over reigning Olympic champions Sui and Han, and then in third place, Nagaoka and Moriguchi from Japan, the up and coming kind of firecracker team. So Efimova and Mitrofanov, okay, they're very good, and they were like sixth at Worlds last year. They're clearly in that top echelon, slightly below, I think, those top skaters. Um, for me, the short program, once again, I just don't understand it. I think that if you want to
Yeah.
use the supposed, love story, lovely qualities, or this connection that some people think they have, then this short program is just so far away from what I would say is a good program choice for them. And then the free skate again, they've been compared to Gordiev and Grinkov. Their final pose is literally taken right from Gordiev and Grinkov. I don't sense it. Um, it was a good skate.
Yeah.
There's no question that they should have won. I feel no connection between them, and they're skating to
Same.
love story. So um I just don't know if like they're nervous people. She was always, if you look at their old partnerships, and I've said this already, they were kind of cold. in their old
Yeah,
partnerships as well. I think the best program for them last year was their short program, which was a little bit more intense, and then you can kind of mask that they're not doing so much with their faces because you could say, oh, they just have this resting, really angry face that fits the music. But when you skate to these more lyrical, the lines are good, everything is good, but just as far as selling the program, it's just not there to me. But I cannot take away they deserve this win, obviously. Unfortunately, again, they cannot go to the Olympics. We will see them at the World Championships, and they said they will stay in. So I think maybe the plan is 2030 now because they should have citizenship in line by then. I just hope that they can break out of their shell
I know.
because they can be quite good. And the rotation issues, for her with the side by side jumps, it's always kind of a question mark. But in US skating and even in skating all over the world, one is it not a question about the side by side, so that's nothing different. But they do add a lot of nice elements. It's just not hitting for me. That the skating just is
Yeah,
not hitting.
there's so much to like. It's just again never put together in a package. That's just something I enjoy. Like if you just look at the elements individually, they're great. Like again, aside from the side by side jumps, I wrote here. I wish I felt something,
Hmm.
anything. And
Hmm.
I just don't. I don't remember any moments from these programs either, except, oh, maybe she has a nice forward outside death spiral. That's
Uh-huh.
really the only thing I remember in that position. And she's able to find a way to do it. And there's a cool entry and then exit to the death spiral. And that's, I think, something they do better than anyone else in the world. But other than that, it's missing. It's just so missing that spark. It's like they're two people who aren't even emoting outward, let alone together or inward to where you feel anything.
Hmm.
And when we compare to like the team that's like right behind them, like that's just so different. It's so
Hmm.
different.
Hmm.
Um, so again, deserved win. Totally agree with you. I just hope they work on that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to mention this all the time, but Masvina makes go get lunch together, go hang out, go do something, go watch movies,
Hmm.
learn who each other are as people, find some type of connection that's like deeper. And if there is a deeper connection, find a way to express it and bring the walls down. You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck here in these eights and piece low eights as like a ceiling for PCS. It's
Yeah.
anyway, rant over.
Yeah. Sui and Han, reigning Olympic champions, finished second here. I will say though that they are looking really questionable. I mean,
Yeah.
she is not looking like she's 100% healthy. He at the beginning of the year was the one that we're like, is he going to get through it? Can he do these lifts? Can he get through the jumps? Everything looked a little bit tight, and now it's her that looks like uh there's a big question mark. I think that they
Yeah,
will go to the Olympics regardless. I think they will be given whatever painkillers, whatever they can get to get through the Olympics. And they have improved since the beginning of the year. This was just a very messy competition for them. I think their short program is much more effective now. If you want to
I
talk
agree.
about actually selling the program and having that sharp movement that just lends you to actually watch and get into it, I think they've done it in the short. I think their free skate is also nice. I don't think it's
Yeah, it's not
I
my
think
favorite.
it's relatively like not so much choreography, and really the
Yeah,
the program is kind of all on one plane, if you will. But then you look at, they had Rain in Your Black Eyes, I think, for 3 seasons straight, and the way that program built and the way that the throws were just timed so perfectly to the music, and it all just built to this really nice ending. You don't get that here, and I don't think that
nope.
their skating is at a level where they could even attempt to do that. So they're doing what they
Yeah,
can do. But again, I question. It's just at first I thought, the trajectory of how they were skating, I thought, you know what, they might actually be in it for the Olympic gold medal again, believe it or not. And then I see this competition and I'm like, I don't know. I think that there's a really clear top four. Um, right now in the world. I mean, even though some of those teams have had their off performances as well, but I think that this team is looking probably at that next grouping with maybe the Canadians and the Hungarians. I think that's where they're going to slot into. I think the short program, if it's clean, they will get into that final group just because I feel like their PCS will be really high. But then the free skate, I'm just not so sure that they can get
yeah.
through it. And I don't think that they're in it for the gold, certainly. Um, but I think it
Stranger
was too
things have
little too
happened,
late.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
Right.
never
So if
know.
somehow they skate really clean and by some miracle and everyone else falters, they could sneak up in there. But yeah, it's going to require that too. And even then, like they win the short program, but I think they're overmarked. Um,
Hmm.
for what they put out there, they're not nearly as sharp as they were before.
Hmm.
I still enjoy the
Hmm.
short program, but everything's a little sloppy.
Hmm.
I put here in the The change of position and the lifts are just sloppier
Mhm.
than when they were at their peak here, and it's still the case. She messes up the opening twizzles of the step sequence too. Like, it's just small little things like that happening, and that step sequence still is getting like +4 from like two judges here.
Mhm.
So that should have been like 2 or 1, just considering that error here. And then like right after what she's on her knees, like after the program. And so immediately there's that worry, like, does she even have the stamina? Is she in pain? And then it comes out in the free skate, where the stamina is not nearly um where it needs to be to really complete it to a level to where they can perform throughout.
Yeah.
The side by sides don't look great. The triple soft cow is kind of looking the worst it's ever looked. And the program's so empty. It's so
Yeah.
empty. It's so one note. And what I always loved about Sway and Han was the emotional connection and the emotions they were able to
Mhm.
just perform and make you
Mhm.
feel. I still remember watching that world performance of Rain in Your Black Eyes because it is that competition was in like China or Japan. I remember not staying up to watch it because I had to go teach the next day, and I go into the bathroom and I'm just like watching it, getting ready, and I just start crying in the bathroom from this program,
Shocking.
right?
Shocking.
Like shocking, shocking, right, right, right. And it was so bad. But it's just so perfect. Everything to the music, even the changes of holds in the lifts are
Yeah.
rhythmic,
Yeah.
perfectly timed
Yeah.
to the music all the way through.
Mhm.
Maybe the final ending pose is slightly behind, but that's like the only,
Mhm.
knock on that performance. Whereas here, I just kind of felt like, okay, well, they're done now. And it's
It
just
was
to me a
nice.
vehicle.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a vehicle though that doesn't lend itself to make you
Yeah.
feel that same
Yeah.
level of intensity of emotion.
Yeah.
And they need that, in my
Yeah.
opinion, to truly stand out because that's always what made them stand out before.
Yeah.
And now it's just not there. So
Yeah.
even if they make that final group in the Olympics because of the short program, they're falling out of it.
Yeah.
That the
I
top
agree.
five or top four, in the because of the free skate. I'd be surprised if they stay in the top five overall. They're at risk of like dropping down to like 8, 9, in my opinion. Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and if you want to see like a drastic difference too, I've referenced this before, but their 2016 short program really just stands out to me as far as like
Hmm.
every note of the music means something, and it
Perfect.
was really sharp and really really dynamic. And we don't see that now. It's just I think again it was just a little bit too much to ask getting back together as late as they did. Still, I mean, I'm going to enjoy watching them in the Olympics.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I just don't think they're in it. They're not in it. Nagaoka and Moriguchi, on the other hand, now this is a team I said if they ever skate clean, they're going to score in the 140s in the free skate, which would be astronomical for a team like this who isn't really that established yet. We saw in the short program, they're in second place. They get a really good score that's going to put them right up there in the second to last group, most likely in the Olympics, if they deliver like they did. Free skate, once again, it starts out really well. They do this triple loop, double axle, and it's beautifully done. And then side by side, the other side by side triple toes are good. Then you get to the
So good.
throws, and more or less, the throws just look like they are not there yet. I trust that their team, Fedor Klimov, is going to get them in line. I just don't know how long it's going to take. This was a mid-season or early season move that they changed coaches. I think that they will get there eventually. Their
Yeah.
excitement in all they do, even though this music is kind of like, whatever. The music is one thing, but then the skating, the dynamics of the lifts, especially the dynamics of how much speed they have, how much fearlessness they have going
Yep.
into everything, that's what makes them exciting. And I really think if they hit, and I should say when they hit, they're going to be right up there as potential world medalists. I think they are that good, comparatively speaking,
I
to all the other teams.
totally agree with you. When you look at that first, lasso lift in the long program, it's just so fast, gets into position so quickly. And then when they get toward the end of the ice, he's literally like, there's like this much gap between like him and the boards. He's literally
Yeah.
using every single inch of the ice that they possibly can, amazing ice coverage. They're just so fast, like all the way through. And I still think this performance is an improvement on where they were because they would make really silly mistakes from like on lifts and just things like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And you're not seeing that now. Now it's more or less kind of the typical Paris mistakes you would see, like again on the throws. And so they clean those throws up. I totally agree with you. They're easily into the 140s. They're already in the 70s with a clean short program. And that's quite a marker in Paris skating. So they have such an upside potential. I really
Hmm.
hope that like Klimov and the team can just clean everything up and let them find that consistency somehow because I the upside is just so clear here, especially since they are also really expressive skaters too. They're not just these
Hmm.
stone faced, I'm getting through the elements, whatever. So I probably enjoyed them most in the free program out of any other team here.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I
free skate.
agree. I think that they're definitely the most interesting. They're always
Hmm.
exciting regardless of how things go because they're always like on the edge of just completely losing it, which I
Yep.
I like in skating,
Right.
rather than, just crawling into the elements and then, not doing them anyways. I'd
Hmm.
rather see someone bomb into it and it's really big or not. Um, Zhang and Huang from China are in fourth place here, and I have to go back to the Cup of China where they should have been bronze medalists there, and
Yep.
effectively that would have put them in the lead for the race for the one Chinese Olympic spot in pairs. But because of a call on a lift that Sweden Han got in their favor, they finished fourth behind them. And then nationals was going to go how they wanted it to go anyway, so it didn't really matter. But here, second in the free skate, and again a pretty decent skate. I think that they actually have a nice sensitivity
Me too.
sensitivity musically to them, that you don't often see in these up and coming Chinese skaters. At least, in history, in the last few generations, you see that they're a little bit reserved. But I think that they have um, a lot of really good qualities, and I think that Sween Han, I'm assuming this is it for them because I don't see how they could go
Yeah.
any
I don't,
longer than
mm.
this. This team will comfortably step into those shoes next year.
And honestly, they in a fair
Maybe should
world, maybe
already.
they should be already, for
Yeah.
real, because they're skating really well.
Yeah.
The one knock I had for the short program is it's just the music's too big for them. They can't skate to Nemesis.
Hmm.
So it needed to be something a little more like subdued,
Hmm.
because they can't really express to a level that the music requires yet. But I totally agree with you. They're really great, like just in general, in terms of like being able to perform. You don't feel like anything's wooden. My favorite thing too is just like that death spiral, how quickly she gets into position in the short program, whereas most teams really even struggle to find the position. She just gets right into it. So that was just really, really good. I
Hmm.
love the throw triple flip. It's probably the biggest throw triple flip we've ever seen in pair skating, bigger than Sween Hans was. And it's just the way she's able to land it with just such authority.
Hmm.
I just can't imagine like if she just keeps building on this skill,
Hmm.
how good it's gonna look. Like I was really, really, really impressed all the way through.
Yeah.
And they're really close to medaling. They were like a little more than a point away from a bronze here. So I think that's just really, really cool. If not for that random fall she has in the free program, maybe that 1 point plus maybe a few PCS up here could have gotten them that medal.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
things like that happen. But there's a lot here that they should feel good about,
Hmm.
even if they were slightly undermarked on PCS from some judges.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Lauren and Etienne from Canada are behind them in fifth, and a really good result for them. Um, I said it, I was really harsh on them in the past because I feel like the skating skills just really were not good. The posture was bad. The attention to the music wasn't quite there. They were trying, but then the programs kind of fell flat. Saw them at Skate America. They were surprise bronze medalists. They really had the skate of the day that day when everyone else was a little bit off. I really think they have worked hard this season. They're enjoyable now. They're like a pleasant team
Yeah.
to watch. It's still, I mean, the posture could be better, the skating skills could be better, but it's definitely elevated from where it had been for many years
Right.
in the past. Um, and I like them. I think that the free skate in particular is it's like soft, and you wouldn't think this would be necessarily what would fit them, but somehow they have some nice choreographic touches. I like the spiral the whole end of the program is actually quite nice. I really like it. I think there's room to improve still, but I'm very, very impressed with them to the point where I'm not like I remember once I said like I think that they may have been the weakest team on the entire Grand Prix, but I do not feel like that at all anymore. I feel like they
Right. I
are.
think you said that about skating skills. They were maybe
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
weakest team,
yeah,
but the skating
yeah, yeah.
skills were. Yeah, I agree with you. I still remember that too, like watching it as being like, oh, it's so distracting. It's like,
Hmm.
here's five crossovers to like barely
Hmm.
get any speed, right?
Hmm.
And especially from him, but they've really worked on that. I don't get distracted by it. anymore.
Hmm.
I don't get distracted by like the footwork anymore.
Yeah.
So they're making a lot of progress. Really nice. The one thing I will say is that even if the short program impression's better, they feel more into the characters, it's still really empty. And so maybe that's the next thing they can step up on because so much of the vibes from the short program is purely from stairs and styling. No
Yeah.
actual choreography that gives that to you. Um, but yeah, it's really nice. And maybe keep working on the triple twist like so many teams need to because I'm really over all these like
Hmm.
triple twists
Crashy.
just landing
Yeah.
on crashing right on the
Yeah.
man's shoulder and then being set down and then seeing the
Yeah.
judges if it's an earlier team give them the negatives and if it's a later team put them in the
Yeah.
positive GOEs for the
Yeah.
same quality element. So
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
change that panel please.
Yeah. Agreed. Right behind them in sixth and seventh are two American teams.
Yeah.
McBeath and Parkman are in sixth, and Shin and Naj are in seventh place. These are the teams that were third and fourth at nationals. Or no, I'm sorry. These are the teams that were third and fifth at nationals. Um, McBeath Parkman, I don't know what it is about them. I just feel like their programs are they're beautifully choreographed. If you watch the free skate, especially, it's beautifully choreographed, but it's just not hitting. I don't know if it's because they're not selling it or if it's all kind of the same old year after year. But for me, the the program choreography is better than what I give the overall impression for. I would say that.
Yeah.
And then with Shin and Naj, they're a team that's depending on these big technical elements to kind of carry them. Um, it looked like at nationals maybe they were getting it together. The free skate came apart in the second half there completely, which lost them the Olympic spot more or less. I mean, that one lift getting base level and negative GOE was enough in itself
Yeah.
to get them off the Olympic team. But here it was again, it was just not. It was sloppy kind of all around, and it was more or less what they had been doing earlier in the year. I do see why there's potential. I really was rooting for them at US Nationals just because I thought, the short program was so good and then they're putting themselves in to really just kind of upset everybody and it didn't happen there and now I feel like they need to really go back to work in the summer and I have no
Right.
doubt that they will. Um, but yeah, it just
Because
wasn't a good competition for them.
yes, it's true. I feel like what happened here is just really indicative and kind of on theme of what happened the entire season, to where internationally they're always placing behind their closest competitors at U.S.
Hmm.
nationals. And it happened again here. And it's mostly just due to just letting it go, some sloppy mistakes here and there, nickel and diming themselves all the way
Hmm.
through.
Yeah.
And the one thing you would think that would be really solid for them, those side by side jumps, because she was a single skater, are really what did them in here too. Those really bad mistakes, those under rotation calls that really should be something they're not worrying about.
Hmm.
Yet here we are. So
Yeah.
I really hope that we see like more consistency from them because you see to where there is this huge upside too.
Yeah.
And if they have the throws together where so many other teams never get the throws together, really, but we'll see. Like, I hope they stay in the whole cycle. I hope we see 4 more years of improvements on this because so they tighten everything up. You can see like how good this team could really be.
Yeah. I want to bounce down to Ram and Han of North Korea. She was the skater that was in the 2018 Olympics, and I think yeah, they were at Worlds for sure, and I think they were right outside the top 10. She was skating in Canada at the time with Megan Duhamel and Bruno Marcotte, and they were well, actually just Bruno because Megan was still skating, but they were a team that was borderline about to break into the top 10, and then we didn't know what happened. They were just gone. I think they skated for one more year after that, and then we didn't know anything, and now she's back with a different partner, which started last season. um her skating quality, her back, her strength of position is so nice. Now,
Right?
this brings me to one thing. In the short program, Peacock did this thing where they transitioned over to I think it was Entertainment Network that had the short program on live, and they cut into that instead of showing the world feed, and there was no option for world feed, so you better believe I was on my browser to go to a VPN to watch the ISU stream because I knew I just didn't want to hear the commentary on American television. I went over to it quickly. So I saw both programs. I know if you watched the Peacock stream, then you
Yeah,
didn't
I
see them
missed
in
the
the
short.
short. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but even in the free skate, I don't know how long they've been skating together because there's very little news about the North Korean skaters. They kind of just show up and whatever it is it is. But she's really really good pair skater and I think he is too. I don't know how
Yeah,
long he's
yeah. Oh
done
my God,
pairs,
right?
but the potential is there. Like it is there. her just every single position she hits is so nice. I think she probably had the nicest back and the nicest like overall carriage, maybe in the entire competition.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I was really impressed. I wasn't expecting much at all because we haven't seen them in like 4 years or more because they don't get to skate internationally all that much.
Yeah.
But I just put here the program's empty, but they're good performers, right?
Mhm.
They're so nice and pleasant. Like, and
Yeah.
his footwork and the lifts is really solid
Yeah.
when it has really no business being solid. And so they had
No.
some of the best lifts in this competition. I totally agree with you with everything you're saying. They have such great potential. It's just a shame they don't really have a way to like tap into that, considering all the restrictions I'm
Yeah.
sure they're under
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where they're allowed to compete and not.
Yeah, I don't know when we're going to see them. If we're going to see them again, they did not make um the Olympics. They in the qualifying competition they were there. They did not make it there.
Yeah,
Worlds, I would assume they have the minimums for Worlds. So we might see them there. I don't know.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a dicey thing because this is China. It's way easier for them to come and compete in China. I
Yeah.
don't know
Actually, you know
what
what?
goes.
They are 2.33 points short of the world's minimums.
Oh no.
So I don't see any other competition that they would be sent to between now and then. So we will not see them at Worlds most likely.
Oh, that's such a shame. And
Yeah.
that's just it's those long program errors probably just to them and too with that. But it was really nice.
Yep.
Really nice. I honestly thought their lifts were a little undermarked. Should maybe plus one GOE more for like every single lift they
Hmm.
did, just
Hmm.
because. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it for pairs. Let's move on to the final segment, the men, which finished up late last night. I watched everything
Mhm.
live, so again, my sleep schedule is more or less the same as what it is with my job, so it's not that
Like,
bad. But after
I
it, I
did
was like, I
not.
have to go to bed. I was like, I have to go to bed. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll do this, and then I'll go to work straight after this. So yeah, one takeaway from this, first of all, the winner is Kao Mura by the slimmest of margins. He wins by 1/10 of a point over Junhwan Cha from South Korea, and then Sota Yamamoto from Japan as well holds on for a bronze medal. The story of this is that in the free skate, the top eight, there was not one single edge call, under rotation, cue call, nothing. And I think that that was very generous, and that more or less told the story of who ended up winning because I would have had it the other way. We'll get into it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
just starting off on that, the tech
yeah,
panel just got really lazy here. It
yeah.
was kind of bothersome. At first, I was like, "Oh, enjoying the competition," but then literally, like, even when like Chris is like calling it out on air too.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's at first he's like, maybe the computer's frozen.
Yeah. Well, I will say I have access to the live protocols now. Whatever. I have access to them, and at one point they were stuck. So what he was
Oh,
probably
okay,
seeing as
okay.
well, he probably was seeing that they weren't updating, so he didn't know what to talk about because he references that for under rotations and whatever. So I think at that point is why he said maybe
Maybe it's
maybe
frozen. Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so yeah. So
Because
I
eventually
think
he's like, they're not even reviewing these jumps
yeah.
that you can
Yeah.
clearly see have
For yeah,
rotation
a lot of
issues
them
in
they
real
weren't.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So Kalmuro wins. He is going to the Olympics. He put it together at Japanese Nationals, and he's one
yeah,
of the three men that ended up making it. I love his skating. I really love the dynamics of his skating. The problem with him is he's either all or nothing skater. I would say
yeah.
it wasn't a nothing skate in the free skate, but he did let the mistakes start to creep in. Um, I don't know.
He's lucky.
Yeah, he's
He's
lucky.
lucky to have
So
won.
the quad loop, I would say that already was probably an under rotation call. And that in itself, I mean, even one little like one GOE going from 0 to -1 and he would have lost this competition. But if you would have given that the under rotation on the quad loop, then he clearly does not win this competition. I think that a few of his other jumps were probably generously judged as far
Right.
as rotations go. I love his short program. I think it is great. The free skate, I still long for those days of Beauty and the Beast because I think that
I
was just
know.
such a good program. This
So good.
this is nice, and this shows contrast between the two programs to show he could really skate to anything. I do like the construction of the free skate. I think it's very nice.
Hmm.
Just doesn't hit as well as some of his previous programs, I would say. But yeah, he is a skater that I think it adds some spice to the Olympics because he is one that if he's completely on, he is 100% in there for a chance at a medal. I don't think
I
that
agree.
any other Japanese man really would have had that opportunity, but by him getting onto the team, along with Shun Sato, because he's in that position as well, more or less, I think that if they're completely on, they can get into the medals. So we'll see. Um, you know, I don't know what else to say about his free skate. It was just like very hot and cold. Uh, he he lands he messes up on a quad. It should be under rotated. Then he lands a beautiful quad. Then the next quad is a big step out.
Same thing,
It's just
right?
it's hit or miss. So it's just I don't think that it's just the story of him. He's just really on or really not on. And for
Hmm.
me, it tailed to more like kind of losing the agenda, if you will, in the free skate here. So I think
Hmm.
it's very surprising that he was still able to pull it together for the win.
Yeah. I loved the short program. I think I really liked it. But just again, he's giving you that different look that no one else is really giving you. He just totally just gives all that energy to the performance. It's so great. But just like the PCS, 1 to 6 in the short program from the judges. It's four judges put him first. He's second overall in PCS. But then in like the long program, it gets like really crazy. He has PCS ranks from first to ninth.
Yeah.
And that's just like kind of nuts to me. I totally agree with you though. I don't think he should have won this competition overall, just
Hmm.
considering the
Yeah.
how generous the calling was for those skaters that made mistakes in the long program. It's just
Hmm.
maybe this skate is like 10, 15 points lower than it should have been.
Hmm.
Or sorry, it should have been 10, 15 points
Yeah.
lower than it is.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I just don't agree with some of this. And the Serbian judge puts him in ninth in PCS and the Canadian judge puts him in first. So
Hmm.
just overall, there's this huge kind of range and
I would not
disagreement,
say
and
I
not
love.
necessarily
Yeah.
in a positive way like we would say at Europeans.
I love his skating, but this is not a number one PCS skater.
Right.
It's
I
just
also
not.
don't think it's the ninth place either,
No, for
So
sure not. No.
both extremes there. Yeah.
Okay, Junhwan Cha. So
Hmm.
the short program I was kind of indifferent to at the beginning of the season. It's Rain in Your Black Eyes. We've seen it, blah blah blah. But watching it in the step sequence, especially, he gets into this so much. I more often than not end up really loving all of his skating. I did not like his free skate that he had earlier this year, so thankfully he's gone back to his program from last year. But the short program really was delivered so well.
Yeah.
Um, the loop, yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, that combination Let's Loop this year is looking really questionable when it used to just be popped off like nothing. Sometimes he would get under rotation calls, but he used to just do it. Now it's looking like that's the problem.
Hmm.
You look though between both programs, quad salchow, quad toe loop in the free skate as well, the two quad
So good.
salchows between the short and the free skate, two quad saltos. Every single one of those was like landed with an oomph. Like, yes, this is clean rotated. Here I am, like beautiful run out.
Yep.
Every single instance of that. He's also, the triple axle is for many years he would just go all the way down the length of the ice and hold the edge, hold the edge, hold the edge, and then finally jump up. He's really cleaned up on that. I think that started last year.
Hmm.
Just the things that were kind of the negatives of his skating he has worked on. And I would say he had one mistake in the end. He had one mistake trying to get that loop in. He popped it to a single. But otherwise, this was about as good of a skate as he's had since 2023 Worlds. Nothing's going to top that. I think that's one of the best choreographic sequences of all time. I think that Ina
So
Bauer that
good.
he does was so effective in that program. In this program, it's kind of just done, like it's there. But really, he should have won this competition. He
Yeah, totally
really
agree with
should.
you. And even outside of that, that single loop, if it's a double, he wins, right? He puts a double toe on instead of a single loop, he wins. There's a lot of things here and there that he also could have done because at that point it was in his control slightly because of the generous panel. Um, so I totally agree with you. It's a really great skate. I really enjoyed it. I honestly didn't even expect him to medal at all. I
No,
just the way he'd
no,
been skating
yeah,
all year, I thought he would totally just fall apart in the free program too, even after that short and the fall in
hmm
the combination. So him skating clean here, like, was really great. Really glad to
hmm
see that. He gets first in PCS from the panel, but again, just calling some crazy judging out. The Serbian judge places him sixth in presentation and gives a 7.75.
yeah. I don't. I mean,
What?
okay. It is a
What?
very. This program is very like. I understand it. It's not as in your face. It's not as
Right.
naturally like beautiful. Like really, 2023. If you go to that free skate, it's No Time to Die, and then this final
Yeah, it's really
ascension
good.
or descent, whatever
Oh, it's so
from
good.
James Bond. It's so good from start to finish, and it really shows you how beautiful his skating is. Now, this program is like it's really an acquired taste kind of thing because I remember I did not like it in the beginning, and it's another one that started to build up for me just because his strength of his skating. So I get that like it probably is polarizing with the judges as well, but still, I mean, he's not a skater that's in the sevens by any means. So
Right. And like I honestly don't like the program, but
hmm.
that shouldn't change how it's judged, right?
Yeah,
My own
yeah,
taste level
yeah,
shouldn't play into like the criteria because no, I like the music or not is not
yeah,
part of like the criteria, you know?
no,
So yeah, he should have solidly been the winner in my opinion. Just was not because of the tech panel calling.
yeah. Soda Yamamoto, I like him a lot. I have defended him so much. You said, and one of the funniest things I think that has been here since I actually had to like cut out my laughing from when you said this, but you said his short program he does not give the sense or the sensuality needed to skate to Michael Bolton. That is what you said about his short program. Like, give me a break. But okay, I get it. His programs are just kind of like, whatever. Like the
Yeah,
music
bleh.
choices are whatever. But he's such a good skater.
He
He
is.
is really such a quality skater. And the short program was brilliant. Like it was really really brilliantly skated. And then the free skate more or less, he held it together. One thing I do want to say is Chris was going on and on and on about how that triple axel Euler Salchow needed to be a triple Salchow. At that point, he had done two quad toes and he had done two triple axles. Because he popped the first quad Salchow into a triple, he could not do another triple
Yeah,
Salchow at that point. So that was smart on his point to do a double Salchow instead. So that's one thing.
right.
A lot of skaters here actually got hit with plus rep and like doing too many combinations or doing too many the Zayek rule where you can only repeat two jumps that have or triple or quad. So we saw a lot of that. He actually did well to avoid that. I think he's so pleasant. Like, the programs might be like white bread, if you will, like you said, but there's actually a really nice quality to his
No,
programs, and
there
I'm
is.
really
Yeah.
happy that he was able to stay on the podium.
And again, like it's not my taste doesn't mean it's bad,
Yeah.
right? Like, and again, PCS judging should not go into that. But I think he's the only one who has a clean competition all the way through both phases of the program or of the competition. So,
Hmm.
like, I think that's really great too. I really did enjoy the skating if I didn't enjoy the programs.
Yeah.
Still really don't like the short program. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I would say the same though too. Like I didn't really enjoy the program itself long, but the skate was really good, and you can't knock that. Like especially the step sequences were just so nice because his skating skills are good. It doesn't slow down. The flow is just really easy. He's really great at performing like with his body too. There's nothing really stiff going on. Maybe he can hold and release tension slightly better, but it was really awesome. Like I don't know how else to describe that. One thing I will though, again, I'm going to keep calling these judges out who's do some crazy, crazy stuff.
Hmm.
So in the short program, his PCS ranks are from second to 12th. The Mexican judge places him ninth in skating skills with a 7.25. I'm like, absolutely not. Serbian judge puts him eighth with a 7.75 in skating skills.
Hmm.
Absolutely not.
Hmm.
The Mexican judge puts him in 12th in presentation with a 6.75.
Not a fan of
Even
Michael
if
Bolton. That's it.
Okay, not a fan of Michael Bolton, apparently, because neither am I, but still, like that should have no,
Yeah.
no, 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 right?
Yeah.
And in the long program, like it's not as bad, but still bad, right? Its PCS ranks from 1 to 9. The US judge ranks one in everything. The
Wow.
Mexican judge, yeah, right? The Mexican judge ranks again skating skills at seventh at a 7.75, presentation in ninth, 7.5.
Hmm.
Composition 11th with
Wow.
7.5. This
Yikes.
program actually had transitions in choreography though, so even if you don't like the product
Yeah.
in terms of taste, you cannot
Yeah.
justify
Right.
these sevens and this rank of 11. Like it's
I want you
nuts.
to remember those ordinal placements for the PCS for him, and then we're going to get into two skaters very shortly that I guarantee were probably ahead of him. That just it will blow my mind. It literally will blow my mind. But
Okay.
we go to
Oh,
Kazuki
because
Tsumono. Now, I know we have a split opinion on the short program. I think this is the coolest, best short program of the season. It is so quirky and
yeah.
fun and just out there, and I love it. and he skated again. We've seen this season where he skates at Skate America. He skated a beautiful short program, puts him in really good position for the free skate, and then lets it go in the free skate more or less. But again, the short program, I think this is just the coolest thing. It just makes me laugh. It's so goofy and it's just so out there. And I really love
Yeah.
Sophie Tucker, so this is for me just a total win in my book.
I appreciate it, right? It's not my favorite like style or anything like that, but he makes you like it. He makes you
Hmm.
enjoy it because his skating quality, his personality, he's so great at being an extroverted performer. It doesn't feel over the top either. It feels completely natural to what the program demands. Really great. Like I maybe would have put him first in the short program even, like
Hmm.
just for that. I think his PCS should have been even higher than it was.
Hmm.
He's here in like the low to mid eights. And I'm like, no, that should have been pushed like high eights, pushing like nine in some of this because
Hmm.
that presentation, that performance quality is so good.
Hmm. And
And
then
Serbian judge places him fifth.
the
Mhm.
free skate, I raved about this program in
Yeah,
2024 to the point that I found one random instance of somebody had transcribed the piece to sheet music for piano, and I bought it and I was learning it, and I'm like, I am in love with the sensitivity of this program. It is one note, and we kind of push that down in other instances, but it 100% works here. It is just
I
so
agree.
subtle and so beautiful. Now, for it to be completely effective, it needs to be skated well. And unfortunately, more often than not this season, it has not been skated well.
Hmm.
This, it started out rough and then he got it together. But still, what shines through to me, and I think it also in your notes you have it, the choreographic step, it based on what the phrasing of the music is doing, it slows down to match that the music is kind of tailing off at the end. And this is an instance of
Yes,
you
it's so
following
brilliant.
the music. You're following what the music is doing. Misha G choreographed this. I think he did a brilliant job. I'm so happy that Kazuki decided this is the program that he wanted to bring back. I just think that this is a wonderful, wonderful program, and it really constitutes, for me, it does not have to be soft piano music for it to check all the boxes because a short program certainly is not that. But for me, this is just another instance of you're following what the music is doing, and it is so, like, I would say, hauntingly beautiful in a way.
Yep. Totally agree. Like all the way through, I really have no other like things to add other than just repeating all the things you're saying. But this is how you skate a subtle program. You just fully just perform out into it the way that music tells you to. And this is what he's doing all the way through. I never feel like anything's missing. I never feel like anything's too much. It's just right. It's just a great program all the way through. Like you're saying, I wish he had skated this cleaner. He was what, like 1.5 points, like 1.5 points away from a medal here, so close
Hmm.
to it, but he lets
Yeah.
it go in the long
Yeah.
program again with
Again.
just
Yeah.
like, again, right? And that's kind of the story of his whole career, really. Brilliant short programs, messy long programs.
You look at Skate America. He had such a lead in the short, and if he would have kept it together even slightly, he would have qualified to the Grand Prix final. I think his season would have ended up potentially much different than what it did. Nationals was not good, but by making the Grand Prix final, you kind of throw him into,
Hmm.
those are extra points in this ranking thing, and would he have made the Olympics? We're not going to know, but it's what happened all year with him. And if you want to see a really standout performance of this Halston free skate in 2024. He skated a regional competition in Japan and he skated it just about as good as he possibly could. And even though there's like, not many people in the audience, and I think it's probably a fan cam, the program is just stunning. So
Yeah.
I don't know what his plans are. He's been around forever, relatively speaking, forever, but I don't know if he plans to continue. I hope he does because he still puts out some of the most enjoyable
Yeah.
programs for me,
And just to
regardless of the
get back
style.
to the judging here, you look at composition. The judge from Chinese Taipei puts him in first for
Hmm.
composition, and
Hmm.
then you have all the way down to 7 and 8 from the U.S. and Serbian judge, and they're doing composition in the sevens. And I just don't understand that at all for this
No, me neither.
program.
Me neither.
It's not even like this is such a messy program where it got in the way of the
Yeah,
product
just
and
the
the
beginning. Yeah.
choreography. It was just the beginning and it was just some jump issues. It wasn't like he
Hmm.
was tripping on his edges all the way through, messing up
Hmm.
other elements. It wasn't like he was behind or ahead of the music, off time. It was just still so good. So I
Hmm.
knock on those two judges for that.
Yeah. Mikhail Shidorov of Kazakhstan. Now he is second in the world. Okay, so first of all, he goes back to his old short program to Dune. He did that earlier in the season. He's keeping his free skate. The one thing I will say with him, good job for him to go back to the short program from last year. I think it's more effective for him. However,
Mhm.
this is the big thing with him. For being second in the world, the judges have shown repeatedly that they are not going to give him second in the world PCS. They do not like his
Yep.
programs. They do not like what he's putting out there, and there doesn't seem to be like a nudge, especially in the free skate, to change anything. So I feel like he's throwing away
I mean, yeah.
his placements just by not really kind of going a different direction or changing some things around. This program has been the free skate has been panned almost from the beginning of the season. PCS anywhere from the low sevens to the high sevens, maybe just barely getting into the eight, which I still think is a little bit overmarked as it is.
Generous.
Yeah, but we're seeing, he's the program is very empty. It's kind of cheesy. Then
Yep.
the music change doesn't really make sense. I get that he's like a vibe skater. We saw that last year with his free skate as well. It's kind of just like whatever cheesy, like let's get the audience
Right.
involved, but
But if
it's
no
not
one
hitting in
even
that way.
likes the vibes,
Yeah,
you've already started at a loss. Like you're
yeah,
never going to win when no one even likes the vibes to begin with, And I say this as somebody who like loves like weird, quirky vibes, even if like I'll admit like there's no choreography or transitions
yeah,
like last year's program.
yeah.
To me, his refusal to like, or the team's refusal to do away with the free program, go back to something from the past, even just repeating both programs from last year, I think would have been better than holding on to this because it's just not landing the what the music demands in the second half at the end of the program. He's not able to give it. It
Yeah.
needs more precision, it needs more sharpness,
Yeah.
intensity, speed, and he's just not there yet as a performer. So the impression is way worse. Whereas like last year, you just hearing these like quirky 80s vibes, he's able to
Mhm.
just kind of like match that with like this
He was
youthful
new. He
kind of
was
quirk.
fresh though. He was
Yeah, and there was
fresh.
that freshness to
Yeah.
it. But it still, I think, would have been a better impression if he had just repeated those programs. Whereas now, at the end here, I'm just like, oh, this step sequence is so long,
Yeah.
And I'm just keep thinking that constantly toward the end of the free program, and it just gets really sloppy
Yeah.
when he needs to amp up the energy. He's just not able to do it.
Well,
So
he was second in the free skate. I mean, it was basically a three-way tie
yeah.
in the free skate. He was
Hmm.
also hit because he had the air on that first triple axle. He did another one later in the program, which he did not have a combination on, so he got hit with a plus rep. So he's losing base value on that. That was the story of a lot of skaters. But yeah, I will say the step sequence and the step sequences always seem to be an issue, and you really see his lack of skating skills in those. He's always receiving lower levels. The spins always barely seem to get GOE on them, and sometimes the levels on the spins are not that great. So it's just he's very reliant on these big jumps, and a lot of skaters are, but when you don't have the big jumps, the performance just falls really flat. And even so, with that, I still think that, giving him PCS fifth, sixth best in the competition, skating skills in the low eights almost across the board, composition in right around eight across the board, presentation, same thing. It's just too high. Comparatively, it
It's
is
too high.
just way
Yeah.
too high.
100% agree. Like I don't really get where some of this PCS is coming from because you were seeing some skaters get really lowballed that shouldn't
Hmm.
have been, whereas
Right.
he is getting just the benefit of the doubt. So I actually think he is getting those world silver medal PCS
A little
boost.
bit. Yeah, maybe a little
Yeah,
bit.
because for some of this presentation composition, if a judge was like 6.5, 6.75, I'd be like justified.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. And then let's just continue this because this is the one where I really do not understand it at all. And I'm not trying to be harsh, but Boyang Jin, he won world medals 10 years ago and 9 years ago. 2016, 2017, he was on the world podium. He had this cool Spider-Man program that was just, youthful and fun and
Yeah.
kind of masked everything. And now he's been given programs time after time in the last few years that just do not fit his skating. I really, if you just watch him, he's all you talk about 2 foot skating, okay, and how easy it is. You see, whenever he tries to get on an edge, he puts his other foot down right away because for me, it just seems like he cannot hold any position for more than a split second. I think that the skating is choppy. I think that he's looking down the majority of the program. I understand that there are nuances of choreography in this program, but that does not make an entire package. And when you're looking at the total package and you're looking at the lack of skating skills and you're looking at how everything slows way down and the jumps are telegraphed, everything about his skating is jumps based. There is
Yep.
not 1 ounce of really trying to interpret the music. Having a spread eagle here or there does not make it a choreographed program. It's just kind of thrown in for the sake of it. And for me, I just don't understand really um The choices, the free skate, seven of the first eight elements are jumps, and then he doesn't even really break out of his shell past that. He's still looking down. He's really not connecting to the music in any kind of way. The choreography is among the simplest in the competition. Dare I say, you look at some of the skaters way down there. There was a skater who was, let me see what place he was in the free skate, 20th in the free skate, who I would easily give higher PCS to than what Boyang Jin got. And the thing that's
Yeah.
interesting to me is you look at, I mean, I understand he's at home, but this doesn't only happen when he's at home. This happens pretty much at every competition. He's in the eights on all three PCS, and some judges are giving him 8.5 on skating skills. They're giving him up to 8.5 on composition. They're giving him up to 8.5 on presentation. To me, it is I don't know how this could be explained. I feel like I'm the one who's wrong because all the judges give him kind of uniform scores. But I feel like if this was the Europeans panel that actually kind of dared to stray away from the usual, we would see scores maybe in the fives or the sixes,
Hmm.
which is where he should probably be. I just don't understand it. Skating skills, literally three of the judges from Serbia, Mexico, and Taipei gave him second in skating skills. I do not understand.
100%, right? In the long program, the US judge puts him first in presentation too, So there's some like crazy PCS things happening with Boyang here. Again, great respect what he's able to do, put out there. He also skated a clean competition for the most part. So yeah, second skater, right?
Yeah.
Um, Short program, Serbian judge places him first in PCS.
No.
Right? The Australian judge is 12th, and I'm more toward the 12 than the one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just don't understand this. I don't understand how the presentation gets into the nines, how skating skill is 8.75. That's just no.
A
How do you put
9.0
his
presentation. My God, like no.
9.0 presentation, right? And then even then, it's like, so you're saying he has better skating skills than like Kazuki Tomono, Kao, like Mira, Sota, Yamamoto, like
Junhwan,
Junwan
all of them.
Cha.
Like, yeah.
Like, that's just not a thing. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, I think the Australian judge more or less, I mean, I would go even lower, and I know it's never going to happen because then you're so far outside. I mean, I'm really, this is a skater that just, he does not, he's so focused on just who knows what, just getting through these jumps that there's no connection to the music. There is no attempt really at presentation. Audience clapping and the amount of toys thrown on the ice has no relevance to what is being put on the ice. And to me, I wish the Europeans panel would have been here because I think we would have seen a
Yeah,
completely different
really.
story. However, I do have to say, this is some of the best skating he's had in a long, long time. Luckily for him, the last two Olympic cycles, the worlds prior to the Olympics, it's been somebody else who has gotten him that Olympic spot. It was Han Yan in 2021 and it was Dai Wei Dai in 2025. So he's the one, they're going to make him skate until who knows when because he still has these quads. But for me, I still feel like if I'm being 100% honest, I think the skating was stronger 10 years ago than what it
It
is now. I
was.
don't think it
Oh, it
has gone
was.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Like he's just finally maybe even getting to that like presentation quality he had when he was winning world medals um or fourth at the 2018 Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Like but the
Yeah,
jumps are just
but the
not there at
the
all even. And the
programs,
programs aren't there. Yeah, exactly,
they just
right? And they're
don't
not even
match what
him.
his skating is.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand. It's just one of those
And
baffling situations to me.
And especially when like you look at his PCS compared to the next skater, Jacob Sanchez, it's just they're not judging what's happening on the ice. They're just
Mhm.
truly not. And just before I even get into Jacob Sanchez, I've been critical of this judge, but maybe a stop clock is right, like twice a day. But the Serbian judge places Jacob Sanchez second in PCS in the short program. I'm not
Interesting.
disagreeing with that. First in composition. I'm not disagreeing with that. Like
Oh,
it's
also in the free skate second.
and in the free skate second, right? Like, and
Yep.
so that to me is very indicative of actually what he put out there. I really enjoyed Jacob Sanchez like at nationals. I love
Mhm.
that he was able to perform fairly well here to place in the top
Yeah.
10 even without a quad because
Yeah.
like his skating quality is just
So good.
so good.
Yeah.
His you whole body movement, and even then, like he's really great at like performing and putting his body at different angles that don't feel like ugly. They still feel
Hmm.
really like exactly how they should be. Great extension, just this different planes of like movement of his body.
Hmm.
So undermarked still in PCS when you even just thinking about what Boyang Jin got. Like it just yeah.
So let's just the Serbian judge in the free skate gave second in composition and first in presentation, okay? Then you go to
I'm not disagreeing.
The Australian judge has him 16th in composition and 14th in presentation in the 6.75 for both of those scores. Now, why can you see that in a skater that actually has content, but you can't see it in Boying Jin? Like, I really think I'm losing my mind. I don't know. I really think I'm losing my
You're
mind.
not losing your mind. It's just these judges are judging based on reputation. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and we've known that. And some of the judges are doing a better job of creating this differentiation. Maybe a memo or emails have been sent out being like,
Hmm.
hey, y'all, let's judge what's actually happening instead of
Yeah.
just skate order or reputation. But yeah, the Australian judge here putting Jacob Sanchez in 14th overall PCS in a long program is just egregious, egregiously bad. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
describe that.
Yeah.
So, hats off to the Serbian judge here for daring to go second for
Yeah.
Jacob Sanchez in both phases, because
Yeah.
totally deserved.
Jacob is having a kind of career raising up in his career, if you will, similar to what Johnny Weir did in 20 or 2001. He was in there in the final group at Nationals and he started to make waves. 2002, he's right there. I think he also finished. I think Johnny finished fifth in 2002. Jacob was fourth, just barely off the podium. Well, he got a pewter medal at U.S. Nationals, whatever, but just barely off a typical podium at Nationals. And I feel like he's going to start to have a trajectory next year that really puts him in that top group. Of course, he probably needs a quad to be really serious, but as far as U.S. skating goes, I think that he's going to start to get rewarded because he's one that's really putting it out there time and time again. He's getting much stronger, and I enjoy his skating. I think his free skate at nationals was probably the highlight of an otherwise really good final group, anyways. But he really was the one that stood out to me. Now Tomoki Hiwatashi actually finishes ahead of him overall, just slightly. But that's one. I love Tomoki. I love the improvements he's made. I think Miya Hamada has done amazing with him. But if I'm looking at jump rotations again, I would say this is
Yeah.
an interesting case where I would not put him ahead. And also, I would say comparatively, I think his PCS was maybe a little bit high, but even then, it's not high enough when you compare what Shidorov and what Jin were doing. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's one of those trade-offs where he was kind of hit in PCS, but really like it should have been higher because of the way other judges, and he's another one. They don't know what to do with him. They have him all the way from 5th to 13th. There's a composition score from the Serbian judge that has him in 16th place here, all the way up to 4th from the Chinese judge and 5th from the US judge. So it's another case. People don't know what to do with him, and I feel like technical panels
Yeah.
also don't know what to do with him. Sometimes they're very generous. Other times they find every single jump to under rotate. So it's just one of those cases. He's one of those skaters that I will say though, in the Kiss and Cry, he said it was his last performance. It was confirmed that this is it. He is retiring. He wants to. He's either going to he's starting to work for some, I forget what the business is, but he also wants to get involved behind the scenes. I think he wants to become a technical specialist or something having
Oh,
to do
wow.
with
Awesome.
with the sport. So he'll hopefully stay involved in that way. But he's really picked it
Yeah.
up this season, and I'm happy for him to have this kind of skate.
Yeah, he did have like a stronger season this year compared to like most of his like senior seasons, but he'll always have that like junior world title. I still remember the way like he gets second, right? But it's first overall or something like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
And then just the
something.
way like he's just like drinking water and he just kind of like
Oh
drops it
yeah,
down, walks up when he realizes he wins. That
yeah,
reaction is just like because he can't
yeah,
express it because his mouth is full of
yeah,
water and
yeah.
it just comes out in like this whole body, like whatever. But it was just still think about that. I really enjoyed him over the years. So sad that this is like his last competition, but everything
Yeah,
does end, and I'm glad he's still staying in the sport. So hopefully we do see his name pop up eventually, technical specialist Tomoki Hiwatashi, and then I
yeah.
wonder what type of collar he'll be.
Hopefully a reasonable one. Hopefully.
Right, right. Yes.
All right. Behind him was Roman Sadovsky. I would assume, I don't know, but I would assume this is also it for him.
Yeah.
Um, a decent skate. Again, you see the judges don't know what to do with his PCS. They never do. And we said he's always so underranked on PCS. Serbian judge has him first in the free skate. Mexican judge has him second. He's all the way down to ninth. I feel like the US and the Chinese judges were just completely seeing something different in the free skate that I wasn't seeing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for real.
Um, yeah, but it is not without, he's another one. He gets through, he'll either get through the really hard elements, he'll get through the quad salchow, and he'll get through the triple axel on the short, then his combination's a mess, or it's the opposite where he doesn't do anything besides the combination. And then the free skate, it's more or less the same thing where it's hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. I really appreciate his skating. I think that he is a beautiful skater. I think that he has very nice programs. It's just been like this, the story of his life. It's
Yeah.
just not quite there. So Yeah, what else
Yeah,
can you
nothing
add
really
to
to
that,
add
right?
about that.
Yeah.
No, nothing else you can add to that really. Like I really enjoyed his skating over the years, and it, this probably my guess would be it. Um, but yeah, he's given a lot of great performances. Maybe not the results he wanted. Never found that really consistency to kind of just make the judges give him higher PCS. But I think he has a lot like all these. He's an Olympic medal, right? No, wait, that didn't
Yeah.
happen, did it?
Mm,
Should have happened.
should have happened. Yeah.
Should have
Should have.
happened. That's right. So
Yeah.
we don't cut. Um, yeah, maybe we'll see him at Worlds, right? Unless because
Mm,
they have just the one spot, but who knows how Worlds like plays out
mm,
in terms of like the spots and if Gogolev even goes to Worlds after like the Olympics. But that's really the
I
only
think he
other hope we
will.
have. He will. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he will.
Anyway.
Um, Going down the list, I just want to make special mention again of a few skaters. Yu Xiang Li of Chinese Taipei, really he was the skater that got that final spot at the Olympic qualifying competition. Was so happy for him. He was held
Hmm.
down extremely in the free skate here. He did not have a good short
I
program.
agree.
His PCS is outrageous to me. It is outrageous, and this is first group starting order, 20th, 22nd in PCS overall. I mean, he's another skater. I'm sorry. He has more of a complex program. He has more to offer in skating skills than both Shidorov and Boyingjin. I'm sorry. That is
Yep.
just how it is. And then you find judges. The Mexican judge gave him a 4.75 in presentation. Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. I don't know what I'm watching. I really don't know what I'm watching. And then another thing I want to mention is this. I saw this on Reddit actually, and it was pointed out to me in I believe it was the short program. I might be wrong on this, but in one of the programs, they panned to the audience after he was done skating, and he's from Taipei, so they have this Taiwan, so they have this whole issue with mainland China. There's just government, a lot of issues. Someone was holding up and waving the Chinese flag in the audience after he was done, and that's such a like a slap in the face to him. I know that he's aware of it, and he's just like whatever probably. But the thing is, that's just not these Chinese
Not
audiences with
classy.
yeah. Not very
Not the
nice.
classiest choice, guys. Let's
Yeah.
support all the skaters like they deserve to be supported, right? Don't bring
Yeah.
in like all these other opinions or your own
Yeah.
external, internal politics into this
Yeah.
because they should not really come into account. Support them like they deserve.
Yeah.
So that was just wrong.
Yep. Agreed. And then Jae Lee from South
Yeah,
Korea, he was so good in the short program, really fell apart in the free skate, but he is such a pleasant skater as well. He's really beautiful, beautiful skating.
I
Really
agree.
liked him. And I think there was one, oh, Diaz Jerebayev, I kind of referenced him earlier saying that he should have clearly higher PCS than what that of Boying Jin. He has programs, at least one is choreographed by Stefan Lambiel. I wouldn't be surprised if both are. But to me, he is another beautiful skater. He doesn't really ever put it quite together, but he is probably the skater I look forward to the most year after year in Four Continents because I feel like he always offers some kind of pleasant, really pleasant skating. Jarvis Ho started off the night and he had a really good free skate. He got hit with some rotation and edge calls that seemed to be lost as the night went on, but I thought he was really enjoyable. And Oleg Melnikov from Kazakhstan, also, he's coached by Ilya Klimkin, and he probably has the best cantilever I've ever seen.
No
He's
surprise there
so
then,
such a
considering the
cool,
coach.
yeah, exactly. So the skating doesn't really reflect how cool his. I mean the placement doesn't reflect how cool his skating was. I really enjoyed him as well. So almost all the way down the line, there's a lot of really good skaters. The quality is there. The jumps obviously for the lower groups aren't quite there, but I think that overall this competition, the men's competition, and really all the competitions were really strongly skated
I
and
agree.
and really enjoyable. And it's just that I wish the judges from Europeans would just be permanently there because they were not afraid to do what, when the fact that
At
they
least
were
like
doing
five or
exactly
six of
what,
them.
but yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. If we're watching this and saying this is one of the best programs, this fills the criteria of the PCS, and then you look at the PCS and they're giving them first, second, third, fourth in that criteria, it's like finally we're redeemed and we're not crazy, and it's really not a case of us just being so wildly out there and they're agreeing with us. Um, yeah, I just wish it was like that. Moment of the competition for me obviously was Yuna Aoki. I could talk about her
Yeah.
for another
Hmm.
hour. Just
Same.
one of the
Hmm.
top moments of the year for me. I'm so happy that she had this moment. I want to transition over really quick. Just mention if you're not following the Instagram account that we have for this channel, please do. In the last 2 weeks, I have 600,000 views over things that I've posted. I posted the starting orders for the Olympics, the groups that they'll be in. I reposted, if you didn't know, in December, I kind of spilled the beans on who the technical panels will be for the Olympics. I reposted that. Lots of clips of the skating, lots of just kind of statistics that I found thanks to Skating Scores, our favorite website. Um, and just various other stuff. I have
Yeah.
polls up now asking who the Olympic champions are going to be and some of the certain criteria of the Olympics. Do you like the team event
Mhm.
first or last? Just stuff like that. So there's a lot going on there. If you could follow, I would really appreciate it because I'm really trying to
Yes,
build up
please.
that. Yeah.
Tony's just doing
Um,
like amazing work with this. It's not me at all. Like I'm literally just waking up and I'm looking on Instagram and I'm being like, oh wow, he did like seven
hundreds of
things.
posts. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
what's happening here?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Naoki, moment of the competition for me. Both skates so good. I'll even just put like second there, but like Zingas and Kolesnik, just watching them still just skate really well, consistently. You don't ever see a drop in their performance level. That is getting better and better seemingly every time I see them. So I'm just so excited for how they're going to perform,
Hmm.
especially at Worlds that we're going to be at.
Hmm.
And just even then, everybody. So like we're to try to like do more frequent videos for the Olympics because the Olympics is like what, two
Every
weeks
day.
long,
Hmm.
nearly every day, right? Yeah. So we're gonna try to like figure out what that's gonna look out for that. But we're really excited. We're gonna have like what, a week and a half to just kind of like rest up a little bit before it starts the team
Yeah.
event. So yeah,
Thankfully, there are small level competitions that some of these
yes.
Olympic skaters are doing last minute, probably to try to increase their rank and change these world standings that I put so much effort into putting the orders, so they might shift just slightly. But the thing is, I'm very excited that there's no major skating for this time because we are going to hit the Olympics hard. Our first video for sure will be, I want to do like a mock kind of scoring of how we think the team event's going to go. You and I can make our own separate charts and then we can compare what we think is going to happen there
I'm
right
so
before the
bad
team
at
event.
those.
No, you're going to do it because we need. We're going to disagree, and I think more
No,
people
I
want
know,
us
I
to
know, I
see
know.
like a disagreement between us because more often than not we typically agree with everything. So I think that
And
would
I think
be
that should be too. We should talk about who should be in the team event for some of these
yeah,
countries because I still have very strong opinions that I know we still disagreed on
yeah,
some of that. But I'm just like, no, go for the gold. That's how
yeah.
we should pick. Anyway,
I don't think so.
you're
We'll
like,
get into
no.
that though. Well, that's like the cliffhanger to all this. So yeah, it will probably be videos every single day. I don't necessarily know that we'll do previews of the individual events, but definitely recaps of the individual event after every single segment of every day. Obviously, the team event we're going to preview and then we'll review those every single day. So yeah, pretty much guarantee for those 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that we'll have some content out every single day. Another thing I've been quoted, not really quoted, just cited, I would say, in Russian media a
Oh,
ton after the other day because
oh no.
people will do the most in skating. I'm sorry, but like there is a rule book for the PCS, there's a rule book for the GOE, there's a rule book for how things work in competitions, including championships. The Russian skaters, that the individual neutral athletes, whatever they're calling them this year, they are skating first in the group, along with the Belarusian skater for the women. They're skating first in on the night in the Olympics because they do not have world standing points. Plain and simple, this is how it works. This is how it's always worked. Sween Han are the reigning Olympic champions, and they're also in that first group in pairs because they took some time off. Now I understand the Russians have been shut out of competing, but I'm getting quoted and I'm getting messages like crazy on the Instagram account about how it's not fair. I don't make the rules. What I'm doing is applying the rules as they're written, which every single one of you can do and should have known, but people refuse to do it. They really refuse to do it. And at a certain point, it's like, don't hold me accountable for doing the accounting for this and just reading the rules because I'm not the one
Right.
deciding the starting
Exactly.
orders.
That's just
No.
stating facts based on the rules as written, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just as a general rule of thumb, not all your thoughts and feelings deserve a target, everybody.
But it's okay. Like I was pointed to some articles where they referenced me saying, according to the source, the skating session, this will be the starting. It's not according to me. It's just this
It's
is
just
how it
according to
is.
the
This is
rules
for
as written,
everyone.
right?
Everyone could read the rules. Everyone could have read the rules 6 months ago and known that this was going to happen. But now it's like this
Right.
big shock. Russia wants to build up the Olympics, and I know that they're saying like Petrosian skating first or second and Gumenik skating first. It's going to like hinder them. We'll see if it does. There have been skaters in the past. I remember in 2010 Olympics, I know Shen and Zhao skated first, and they still ended up with the gold medal, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything. And I think Didn't Plushenko skate really early too? I don't know. I
I
know that
honestly
they
don't
were.
remember that.
I don't remember. I know Shen and Zhao definitely skated first.
Yeah, Shin
So,
Zhao, yeah.
anyways, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme. The skaters, if you want to take a Russian skater, my favorite skater of all time, listen to this, Russian people. My favorite skater of all time is Russian. Maria Butirskaya skated first in the '98 Olympic short program, and she was in third place after the short. So it does not, as much as you want to turn this into something, yes, it's unfortunate that they skate
Right.
early, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't
Right.
mean,
And some of the ice dance I watched repeatedly on repeat, it's Grishuk and Platov, Usova and Zulin, Klimova,
yeah,
Ponomarenko. I will
yeah,
watch a lot of those programs
yeah.
all the time. I just because the skating is so good.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's all about the skating and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I understand that people are paranoid about these starting orders and kind of the application of the PCS because we talk about it. But again, these are the rules as written. They're not going to circumvent the rules and just throw a skater that has no international experience into this final group. It's just that's not how it works. That's never how it's worked since they
Right.
started this world standing starting order thing. Anyways, with that said, we have to wrap this up because I have to
Yes.
turn around and edit some of this
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, right, right,
and
right.
post it.
So like and
Um,
subscribe, everybody.
like and subscribe, and please, I'm going to post a link to. Oddly enough, we have links to our personal Instagram accounts, but I never put the skating session
Oh
Instagram
wow.
link up, so I need to put that up. And please follow it because we post these videos once every week or whenever there's a major competition, but I'm really trying almost every day to post some interesting stuff. I did a throwback to Tatiana Molina's
Oh,
1999
that
Tour
was super cool.
Continents win. Just like a lot of videos that are from here, I'll post them on there as well if they're relevant to whatever's going on. So I think that's about it. Enjoyable competition. Again, we have like a week and a
It's really
half
good.
to rest and catch up on the sleep. I think my Aura ring's about to explode, saying I'm so sleep deprived. But yeah, that's it. We will see you again for
Yes.
the preview of the team event of the Olympics. And again, any questions, comments, concerns, if we got something wrong, please tell us. As always, we say that. But yeah, please subscribe or follow the Instagram account because I'm really trying to build that up and I'm more active there. So for now, thank you again for watching. This is the skating session, and my name is Tony Wheeler,
And I'm Thomas Vu.
and we'll see you for the preview for the Olympics. Have a good day.
All right, bye everyone.